What's going on, guys? Well, here we are back with round 2, race number 5 of the Fast Family Racing League Showdown. And tonight it's NNR versus the Little on the High Side Racing. In the booth with me is going to be the one and only J.M. Dohart, lead of the E-Spark Truck Xfinity and Cup Series, Filter Time E-Spark Series, that is. Dohar, Canadian Tire, a couple of pretty bad, fast leagues about to conquer this place. See who can make it all the way and who's got the right to go to round 3. How are you feeling, Dohar?
Well, I'm feeling like we're going to get a heck of a show, Pete. Canadian Tire is one of those tracks you just don't see a lot done, especially in cup cars. So we're getting into a bit of unfamiliar territory when these guys are going to rock and roll up across the north of the border. But when these guys head here, man, they're going to be turning some bad fast lap times. They're going to be in the mid to high 1 minute and teens. And there's just going to be a lot of speed, a lot of tire spin, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, you talk about a lot of speed around these places. There's a lot of very, very fast straights and somewhat straights. There's a lot of really fast corners. The hairpin is really, really difficult to get through. And not only that, they just had their drivers meeting. They were told where they can or how they can kind of go off the track, but at all times they got to have at least 2 tires on the roadway, max tires off on the grass or off on the rumble strips, not to exceed that. Otherwise, it's a stop and go penalty wherever it's safe to do so. But you figure 10 teams on both sides. We both know NNR. We both watched the Little on the High Side race, back in stage 1. I definitely know who some of the fast guys are with NNR. You were talking to me a little bit about Freaky Fast a little bit earlier. Anybody that you got your eyes on for this race?
Well, for tonight, I mean, it's going to be the pressure's all on NNR. It seems like those are the guys. They're coming in, at the higher seed. They're coming in, in like the 4th seed basically. So. A Little on the High Side knows they're up against Goliath, if you will, but it's going to come down to guys like Noggin Jr., who was really fast in that opening round. You're going to have Obi-Wan Ben. You're going to have the 88 of Just to My Fist. Those are some really, really fast dudes that I think can be the torchbearers here for a Little on the High Side, but they're going to need a couple others to step up to the plate in a big way. You look at that NNR roster, man. It's stacked at the top. You got, you got a Moore, you got Boehner, you got Rose. You're at a road course, so Rowdy is going to be, at the top of the game here. But once you start getting into that middle part of the roster, that's where you're starting to see where the Little on the High Side guys can fit. And this might not be a race where a Little on the High Side might win or even finish in the top 3, but if they could sweep out the rest of the top 10, they still might have a very good chance to get away with this dub.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's not all about who finishes up top in each stage. It's about the entire team and where they're able to finish. So if you get, top 5 and the rest of the team is top 10, well, guess what? You split that. So there might be a little bit of a disparity in the points, but you're still in the game all the way through all 3 stages. So there's no reason for anybody to give up. There's all kinds of points on the line up until everybody crosses and grabs that final checker. But man, it's going to be a phenomenal time. Unfortunately, Rowdy Trucks had to back out a little under the weather. But Dohar, man, it kind of feels like old times. You and I getting in here for these NNR races, whether it's for the truck or for the Xfinity. Thank you very much for coming along with me. Tell a few people out there that may not know about eSpark, please.
Absolutely. I mean, eSpark is a newer custom setup league over on the Xbox side. Just really got off the ground and rolling in late October, so we're coming up on a 1-year anniversary. So that'll be really, really awesome. But truth be told, Pete, we're just a bunch of guys that, it was really hard once the Pro League hit to find a good fit for a league. The league most of us had been running in just wasn't very accommodating to us as pro league drivers anymore. So we started our own series with the help of a lot of those guys, like Brian Tedeschi, Sam Morris, and Mr. Trackbar, of course, and Lucky Dog. Those guys helping me get this series off the ground, getting a home for most of the guys that were in the top 50 in season one's qualifiers, and then most of the top 24 this year also joined in, and then most of the new pro league guys as well. So we're really excited. I'm glad to maybe make a breaking announcement today. But when we have our Budweiser Shootout / Clash on September the 6th to kick off our third season, we're going to have a special guest driving in the field. The Pro League General Manager, Jay Pinnell, is going to be out on the racetrack with us. He's not going to be commentating. He's going to be racing with some of the guys he's known all season long. So we're really excited to have Jay and have him out on the racetrack for the first time ever in an online race. It'll be an eSpark race, and we'll see how he does. But it's going to be really fun. Lots of big things happening.
That's awesome. Once we get into the race, guys and gals, you'll actually be able to take a look at all the Twitch or Twitter information for both me and Rowdy and Dohar and of course NNR and everybody else. So John Fry out there saying I'm going to wreck him. But these guys are just about done with their qualifying, so we're gonna go ahead and get our national anthem in. So again, everybody, if you would, please stand and remove your hats. We're gonna go ahead and get this in. Let's pay a little tribute. Thank you very much. All right, so once again, very getting ready to set this in. And you know what? Might as well take this time to actually go down those rosters that we were just talking about. If you don't have the information up, I can definitely go through them both. So I'll start off with a little on the high side. Not familiar with them, but let's make everybody familiar with them at the same time. Starting off as their team owner, team lead. Looks like it's going to be Colin Hobart driving the 13 car. It's going to be C. Marcel in the 14. Dizzy Boy in that 20. Noggin in the 26. You talked about him a little bit ago. Freaky Fast, another one you talked about, going to be driving that 29. In the 53 is going to be Salt Packet Peppa. I remember a few people having some difficulty pronouncing that name in the round one race, and now I can see why. You got the 55 of Obi-Wan Ben, 55-25, 69 of Spicy Burrito, 88 of Gist of My Fist, the 98 of Holy Nugget. Heard a few things about him, and then there's substitutes. The 18 of Red Dot Mods. A lot of people very familiar with that gamer tag. 97 of DST No 356, and I believe Jay Boehner 09 will be in the field in that 99, replacing one of the other railers.
Spicy Burrito.
Spicy Burrito was not able to make it. Dora, do you have the slide for the NNR side?
Yeah, we do. So over on Team NNR, he got their fearless leader, Jim Coey. He's going to be in the 24. Going to have the 0 of God Power out there as well. NNR Rowdy in the 3. Going to be driving like Dale Earnhardt, hitting everything. Got the 5 of Parzival. He's one of the few guys in NNR I wasn't very familiar with. 27 of Rory Breaker. You're going to have Boehner in the 28. Can't wait for him to listen to America's favorite lap car, call the race that he's in. 30 of a more smoke. 42 CGMX Rose. You're going to have the 51 of NNR Swats and the 78 of Cowboy. And then their substitutes. I haven't heard that any of these guys are going to be stepping in to the game here. But we've got the 8 of Augustus. You got the 12 of JCX. And, of course, everybody's favorite, the champ, 2 times, 48, the Aviator.
Yeah, talk about like you mentioned earlier, pretty stacked roster. I'm very very curious to see what what these two are gonna do. I mean, how they're gonna get into those first few turns, getting through that hairpin. I mean, down the hills, everybody's got to do their best to keep it clean and keep it green. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on into to their race. Did you get an invite?
I have not, so I just need a little help from you, buddy.
All right,
Always do.
get you right now.
All
Let's
right.
see.
I tell you what, Pete, the hardest part of this racetrack anytime I drive it is that downhill turn. It's the turn 2, that sweeping left-hander that goes downhill. I can never, on a preset, ever find the right point to get back on the throttle. Now, I'm sure these guys have practiced a lot more than I ever have here, but I still think that it'll be a trouble spot. It'll kind of be our hot spot of the night. We'll be watching that.
I've got to agree. Watching a few of their practices, taking these cars downhill, it was interesting to say the least. So let's go ahead and clear away this promo and the roster and show you, COT Tommy bringing that 37 around. Now, COT Tommy, he's actually one of the race admins. As you can see, even he overcooked the corner just a little bit. But we are getting into this, and Boehner, you got to wonder, team versus team, they hadn't practiced before. They don't really know a whole lot about each other. Um, what do you think the nerves are like between these two teams right now?
They're going to be high. It's going to be really, really high for these guys. You're going to be really nervous because when you head out to turn 1 and all of a sudden the field is probably double, maybe even triple the size that you're used to in practice, you know, then then that's when the nerves start to set in. You forget your braking point, or you don't understand the adjustment you have to make to your braking point. And that's the thing that's tricky about road courses. That gives them the bad rap and gives them that default public lobby angst. Is that when you get all these cars together, you gotta adjust your braking point. You gotta adjust your let-off point. How hard you're on the brakes. How long you're on the brakes. And a lot of guys sometimes just aren't aware of how that multiplies and magnifies when you've got so many cars out here on the field. That's just going to be the biggest test for these guys, Pete, is going to be seeing, if you had a bad qualifying lap and you're stuck in the middle of the pack, how are you going to be able to get up front? There might be some guys that are going to be really fast, Pete, but they're going to make a lot of mistakes, and they're going to get off track. So you got a multitude of things that can happen here tonight that I think will still give us a great show.
Yeah, you mentioned that right there, and that was something I was going to absolutely bring up. I really think, even though NNR came in, as you said earlier, as the top seed, and High Side's really got to figure out a way to get around these guys. I really think it's still going to come down to the person, or the team rather, that, because it's not just who finishes first; it is a complete team effort. I mean, 10 guys on each side, and it's all about who finishes in the top 10 in each round. So, man, it's going to be interesting. But whoever can make the least amount of mistakes, I think they still got a shot to bring it home and run really really strong here. Running around with Tommy right here. If you're following along right now, do you mind taking us for a lap around this place? Actually, I think he might be bringing it down to. Nope, he's bringing it down to a crawl. I'm guessing the time is just about run out. I can actually check in on Boehner's stream right now. Again, I'll have his stream up. Yep, time's expired as you see the 42 and everybody else catching on up to the 37 of Tommy. Again, I believe your league admins tonight will be COT Tommy as well as Fry Dog, and in the pace car will be ENEA Shotgun. ENEA was another team that did move on to the round of two, so we'll have to. It's oh man, these nerves. I tell you, or HD. How about that?
You're so nervous you almost called me your other partner. I tell you what though, Pete,
Yeah,
looking through all those cars, brother, these guys
yeah,
got some sick, clean cars. All the
yeah.
NNR guys are in the black with red trim, and everybody on a little on the high side in that blue with gray and nationwide on the hood. That's awesome. Looks like whoever's in the zero didn't get the memo for NNR. I think that's God Power. He had an all gray car out there, so I
Yeah.
don't think he got the memo on the paint scheme adjustments. But I'd say pretty sick for these boys. They're going to be looking pretty hot out there on the racetrack.
I've got to agree with you. Just waiting for these guys to get back in, grab a last, a few last words of wisdom from either Coe or Colin, and just get ready to get going. Rock NASCAR, thank you very much for coming out, hanging out, chatting it up. Appreciate the bits, sir. For everybody else, now you can see all of our information on the screen. Of course, you see on the right-hand side above the Fast Family logo, we are still talking about and feeling, everybody's feeling some kind of a way about GRM Joker. I unfortunately never got a chance to race with the guy. I don't think you did, but he was getting all set to run in NNR, so I figured we'll go ahead and put up what truck he was going to run in our truck series every race here in stage two, and I would imagine beyond. We'll have some kind of a token for Joker. I know IVRL is doing something special. Now, if you can, everybody that's out there, and I would absolutely appreciate this. I will be once I get paid. Um, Joker's family reached out in our Discord. I think his girlfriend actually joined the Discord, and there was a message there that they've got to come up with about $3,200 up, down, in order to get everything secured for him to be taken care of. There is a GoFundMe set up, that slide job. It's under the name of Anthony Lord. If you can, uh, please help this family out. Nobody, I think the guy was like 24 or 26 years old. Very, very untimely. No parent, as they say, should have to bury one of their children. So if you've got the capacity, please reach out, help out. They would absolutely appreciate it. If at some point during the stream tonight, Dohar, I can find the link for that GoFundMe, I'll actually put it up on the scroll as well.
I think that would be a very fitting thing to do there, Pete. Raced with Joker only a handful of times, but I knew him when I raced with him because he was one of the cleanest guys you could run with in a public lobby. He's one of those guys where if he was in the lobby when you joined in, you knew it was going to be a pretty good lobby and you were going to be okay. And just our thoughts and prayers are with that whole family. Again, it's as you said, Pete, parents should never have to bury their child. But it's a tough thing, and it just I hope it, if anything, for all of us, we bicker, we fight, as we might, in this gaming community, in any community. But I hope that y'all take a second out of each day to just give thanks and thank the guys you race with, thank the guys you race with maybe in a one-off, thank the guys you're racing with in this tournament, because nobody ever really knows when the end is, and just appreciate all the memories that you get to make with all the people that you get to meet in this wonderful thing that we do, and really hold on to that and just appreciate life and live it to the fullest. And I know that's something Joker did. As little as I knew him, I knew that was something he did. He just lived life to the fullest. So best
Yeah,
wishes to his family.
absolutely. I've only got two things that I can say about Joker. One is we were calling a race in stage one together, and something happened, and he just lagged out or something. And then we were all in a party, I would say about a week ago, and he popped into the party, and in the best voice I could, I was like, "Ladies and gents, GRM Joker, driver 97, NNR Truck Series," and he just started bursting out in laughter, and that was that's probably the fondest memory that I've got of the guy. I made him laugh, and he must have carried on for a good minute and a half, and then he kind of thanked me for it at the end. So that was. There we go. Well, that should be a little bit better. That's probably my best of Joker, but all the different stories that I've heard about the guy in the different leagues and communities and the different things that are going to be going on for the guy, man, I wish his family every piece that they've got in these very, very troubling times. Um, Looks like the clock is starting to wind down, so we should be seeing an invite here from Tommy or Frydog or whoever, hopefully here in just a second. Dohar, we're about to take this green. Two title contenders on the track tonight, a big unknown. This is the first time that any of the communities are racing Canadian Tire, where it's tonight with NNR and a little on the high side. Tomorrow night, I know American Ethanol is taking on their contender. It's going to be a couple of nights of a whole lot of competitive racing around this 10-mile road course.
Yeah, you're going to be right up across the border here. Again, it's just one that isn't done too often, so unfamiliar territory for a lot of these folks, especially when it comes to having a cup car out here, which means you're going to have a lot less rear grip. You're going to have a lot more power, but it's going to be harder to get that power down all the way, so that's where the struggle is going to be. What preset do you select here? Guys can select I've heard as low as 2, as high as 8, depending on the driver, the preferences, so at road courses, you got the wide spectrum to use, and we hope that y'all are going to be watching the sister race. Maybe pull up that extra tablet, or pull up another cell phone, or pull it up on a good old Xbox while you got this one going on. Make sure you're watching NAOR and Fast Family. They're going to be racing at Road America here, kicking off about a half hour behind us. So we hope you guys will enjoy some double action, double the dose, double the fun. Fast Family Racing Tournament here. That's going to be a good show because, you know what, Pete?
We need an invite, guys. Please send over an invite.
This is going to have a lot at stake.
All right, Tommy just sent out the invite. These guys are getting loaded up. I'll send you that right now as soon as I get in here. They actually the counter's been down, so we should be coming in here probably just about as they start. I'm going to get you your invite right now. I know I just saw you.
Make sure you're not looking under HD for my gamer tag, because that's not me.
I thought I just... Where are you? Yep, they're going green. All right. All right, there we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right.
Caller in, Pete.
All right, I got you. So it looks like at the front, you talked about it earlier, going to be that 42 of CGMX Rose. Got down through 1 and 2 pretty efficiently. It looks like he, just like in the NNR days, he was able to qualify up towards the front. Him and all that fantastic Fanatec equipment that he got as part of his Pro League adventure. Again, he was one of the drivers picked up by Chip Ganassi. So 42 of CGMX Rose out behind him. You're going to have the 28 of Boehner. Behind Boehner is going to be that lone gray car you talked about of God Power. Behind God Power, or a little bit further back, it's going to be that 5 of Parzival. Then you got that 3 car, NNR Rowdy. Behind Rowdy, you got the 30 of Amore Smoke, the 78 of Cowboy. Looks like the 24 of Coey. It's going to keep going through the roster just so you can all see who's out here. Pull for your favorite driver. There's the 55 of Obi-Wan Ben. 86 or 98 of Nugget. There we go. C. Marcel in that 14. Colin Halbert, that's the group leader in that 13. 88 of Gist of My Fist, rocking out that Nationwide, just like you said earlier. Something you're very, very familiar with, Dohart. Salt Packet Peppa in the 53. Then the 20, I believe, that Dizzy Boy's actually going down pit road already. But something must have happened. You got Jay Banner filling in the night in that 99 with Freaky Fast 44 in the 29. 26 of Noggin Jr., 51 of NNR Swats. There's the NEA Shotgun. Again, he's going to be our pace car for the night. Rory Breaker with the 27. And back up front with CGMX Rose. Go ahead, Dora.
Oh, boy. I'm watching poor Swats. He might be having some issues because he's way behind the rest of the pack. And he was just kind of mowing the grass like for an eternity. So Swats isn't having a good time right now. But I'll tell you who is. It's pretty much all NNR save for Swats because they are up at the front. Just dominating right now. Rose getting away to about a 1.5 lead over Boehner, who's got about a 2-second lead over third place, which is going to be God Power, who is under attack from NNR Rowdy in that 3 cars. They're going to get ready to go down the downhill. This is a battle for third place. Best battle we got on the racetrack. Into the tricky turn 2, downhill. Got to get back under power all the way. So riding along for this little take-home lap. Going into the right-hander of turn 3, you really see Rowdy able to really get to the apex of the turn a lot quicker, but God Power was able to actually get back to the gas. And then this is another tricky one. We'll call it the kink here. Quick left and then 2 double rights. Everybody likes to, use this as the infamous YouTuber's jump, where they just fly over the fence if they can. But as they head down that long back straightaway, Pete, looks like God Power can get to the throttle quicker, and Rowdy either is overdriving the turns because he's getting in better or just isn't able to get the gas and get the rear traction. But right now, NNR sweeping at least the top 4 spots. I think it might be top 5 as More Smoke has moved up into 5th. But we got our first a little on the high side in 6th here. He just passed Coey. That is the 98 car of Obi-Wan Ben.
Yes,
or no?
Obi-Wan, yep.
Nugget.
Great. Yep, Nugget. Yeah, you're right. No, I think you're right. I think it is Obi-Wan Ben, 55-25. He just came under that one bridge right there. Nope, you were 100% right. Nugget right there, right behind Coey, and
Pete, we got one either on pit road with a virtual blown motor or he's got heavy damage. Rory Breaker for Team NNR is already in the pits. Has gone a lap down. I believe he has lost connection to the race. So NNR going to be down 1 driver here early on, but still a lot of them running up at the front. I don't think it's going to be too big an issue for him.
Yeah, sitting on him right now. He is not moving. There's no tires, no fuel, no nothing for Rory. Some very, very unfortunate start for NNR, but I did actually catch up with Rory a little bit over the week, and it looked like he was going to be a pretty promising addition to to this whole showdown. So very unfortunate for him, but right now NNR still up front in most of the top positions. But again, Dora, that doesn't mean a whole lot. It is an entire team effort here. No one person can win it for any team.
I'll tell you what, there's going to be a great battle here. I think it's for 5th, Pete. Might be for 4th. Holy Nugget has caught up to More Smoke and has been hounding him to get by him. They're having a great race. They're not baiting and banging into each other. They're just really giving it their all and basically racing as tough as I've seen anybody without making contact. These guys having a great battle. Again, I believe this is for the 5th position. That 98 of Holy Nugget having a great run here, basically being the torchbearer for a little on the high side. He's going to head down here, getting into turn number 4, and then into the kink. He's going to try to set up a More Smoke here. Again, kind of like Rowdy, Nugget's able to get into the braking zone so much better and cleaner as you see him get down to the right, but that's going to hurt his exit here. So Moore goes a little wide. He's still going to get gas a little sooner and break away, but Holy Nugget's having a fantastic run. He's really impressed me, so he might be the ringer on that squad.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Again, I do have the stream of NNR Boehner up to assist with lap counts and whatnot. Now, something that I don't know if we covered or not in the beginning, this whole race is about 90 laps, and they're going to have to pit after every 6 laps around this colossal road course. So we're actually going to be starting to look at the first round of green flag pit stops coming up very, very soon as this whole battle between the 30 and the 98 heats up. And as you said, this is for P5, Dohar.
Yeah, but up front it's CGMX Rose, who is just out to a vacation-sized lead there as he's getting ready to head down into the kink now. He's got, probably, I'd say he's up to about 4 seconds, maybe even 5, 6 over Boehner. He's just put it on these boys. He's put it on his own team. God Power closing in a little bit on Boehner for second. Looks like Boehner's got a little bit of front-end damage, I think I saw, or maybe that was just observer stuff. But right now, NNR in the top 4 is God Power in third, and you got Rowdy in fourth. I believe in fifth. From there, it's going to be. I saw the 20 of Dizzy Boy. He actually now is up there in fourth. More Smoke is catching him, and so is Holy Nugget. So now 2 a little on the high side guys, at least up in the top, 6 or so, battling it out here. They're going to need to get a little higher, though, to take advantage of NNR being down a driver with Rory lagging out. But here's pit stops as we see a couple guys starting to pit now.
Yep, riding on board right now with NNR Coe. He's got the 98 and a more right in front of him. The top 5 right there as they come into the pits was actually all NNR from Rose back to Amore, but Amore was trying to hold off that 6th place driver. Like I said, Holy Nugget. We're going to keep on get back out on track. I think that one that you were up with, he was almost going a lap down already, so something must have happened with him somewhere around this course and just fell on some hard times. But again, it's only stage 1 Dohar. There's a lot of racing yet to go.
Ton of racing left to go, but you don't want to get too far behind this early. That's the issue. You're just going to be fighting an uphill battle with really the only breaks you're going to get are going to be the stage breaks. Cautions are only going to come out manually if these guys block the racetrack, essentially. So we shouldn't see the pace car do a whole bunch of nothing today, which will be good. We get to see these guys just get into a rhythm and really see what they're all about. But after that first round of pit stops, Rose extending his lead mightily. So he's about to cross the bridge. Boehner just coming out of the second half of the kink. So still about 4 to 5 seconds behind now is a lap car between them. God Power now coming to pit road. He went a lap extra there. So he's your current leader, I do believe, unless some guys might be trying strategy. But Obi-Wan Ben is in as well in the 55. And then we're riding along here with Holy Nugget, whose front end is just demolished. I hope that's some lag damage that we're viewing, but he's getting ready to get back up on more smoke there and try to do battle with him once more.
Dohar, I'd be very, very curious. Looks like there's 18 laps remaining here in stage 1. Everybody knows that you're great at saving fuel. You're great at figuring out exactly what you need to get out of your fuel tank, what you need to do in order to conserve your tires so you don't have any issues on those longer runs when you're able to pull that kind of strategy. There's 18 laps to go. We're seeing some of these high side racers actually go an extra lap or 2. Key word there, 2. Do you think with 18 remaining, they can actually go those extra 6 laps and cut 1 full fuel run out of this? Or do you think that NNR is just really going to be able to run away here in stage 1?
I mean, based on the pace that the leaders are doing right now, it just doesn't seem too practical that they could try to cut out the stop, Pete, but I think that I think Rose and Boehner at least are that fast where they'll still get by them. Now that's not to say that they won't better their position. You might take a car that's running 11th and maybe get a 5th or 6th out of it in this stage, which is going to be critical for points. But I wouldn't look to see a winner come out of that strategy just based on the raw pace that we're seeing really the 42 putting down right now.
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right. You mentioned Holy Nugget doing really, really well early. He was battling Amore Smoke at the time. Well, both Amore and Holy Nugget have been able to advance one position. Almost curious if whoever was in fourth place before had some kind of a pit issue. Maybe he got
It was
caught with.
God Power, Pete. I don't know what happened to him. His car looks clean on the racetrack, and he came out of pit road. He pitted, I think, a lap later than these two guys. But just taking a look at his car, he looks fine. But I really think that it might just be the case of that's not a Moore that Holy Nugget is racing, is it?
I believe. No, I think that's the 8 of Boehner, if I'm not mistaken. No,
No, it's not.
it's Rowdy. Sorry.
He's racing. Oh, he's up to Rowdy already?
Yeah,
No, no, Rowdy's
no,
gone.
no, I'm sorry. No, right now P1 through 5 is CGMX Rose in the front, 8 seconds back to Boehner, then Rowdy, Amore Smoke, and then Holy Nugget. So yeah, it is Amore.
It is okay. It is a Moore. All right. These custom car numbers, it looked like a 38, so I was getting all tricked up. But it's a 30. But it's still, Holy Nugget is going to be around Amore Smoke all day long, and Nugget's got to tell his boys whatever adjustments he's made. Go with this, because whatever he's doing is working. He's at least in the ballpark of these guys. He's at least running pretty competently and competitively. So far, running the top 5, but now God Power, it looks like, is going to overtake him there. But these guys are doing a great job out on the racetrack. I haven't seen too many off-track excursions. And honestly, aside from, I think, the lap I was following along with poor Swats, where he was struggling with something. These guys have been on track, all 4 tires on the pavement.
Yeah, going down a couple of those sections that were very, very questioned during the pre-race. I believe it was turn 1 and turn 4 where you're coming down that really, really long sweeping turn where you're actually almost drifting the entire distance down. What they had to have, and they had to have at least 2 tires on the surface, and they could have 2 tires on the grass. But as we were following Noggin that last lap, and he was passing those zones. There was only like a single tread that had gone through the grass. So yeah, these guys doing everything right. Haven't really heard of any issues so far. Next time Boehner comes on by the start stripe, I'll go ahead and grab us a lap count, but I would imagine that we're going to be coming to our second round of green flag pit stops here pretty soon, as they're getting further and further distance apart from each other, Dohar.
Yeah, I think once we see Rose here out of the kink, I think you're going to see him hit pit road this time. Kind of my mental clock is going. And, we had an accident. One of the, a little on the high side guys crashed off the kink. Got a little loose there, but luckily everybody's so spread out that Boehner was able to get by. Looks like Rowdy's going to get by with no issue. But keep wanting to call him a Moore because I see the 42, and that's all I think about anymore. Rose is going to go by pit road one more time, so maybe even next time he might come in here. We'll see if any of the other leaders decide to come in, maybe Boehner or something, but maybe not. It looks like they got one more to go at least before they're going to queue off pit stops here. But with God Power getting back up into P5, that's going to drop Noggin back to P6 there, or Nugget, I'm sorry.
Yep. Looks like catching up with Swats again. Off track, very, very unfortunate. Swats, self-admittedly, is not the best road course. Originally, that spot was going to be filled by the Aviator, but Aviator, unfortunately, last second or last couple minutes, had to back out. Had some stuff to do with school. So, man, life and family first, but above all, man, that education is very, very important. Trying to catch back up with Boehner. I believe he should be coming on down pit road this time. Boehner, like you, Dor, has gotten very, very good at using that shifter to maximize every bit of fuel in the tank. He's actually had that fuel light on now for about a good lap and a half, so it definitely leads me to believe he's either watching those guys in the back, thinking as I did just a little bit ago that these guys might be trying that one extra lap, so he's got to be able to conserve. But here you see the 28 taking it on down pit road, trying to whoa it up to about 40 mile an hour. Grab 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods, fill it up with Sunoco Race Fuel, get ready to come on back out again.
Yeah, Rowdy going to hit pit road as well. So your top three is in. I'm going to follow along with the first guy to stay out. And it looks like it's going to be the Zero of God Power. He's going to be the first one to continue on in the fight and not pit this lap. So he's going one extra. Still looking on the racetrack to see if anybody else is going to dare to go the extra lap. And there's your Delta. One car going by just now. It's Obi-Wan Ben. He's on the same pit strategy as God Power, but a good, 10 to 20 seconds behind him. And then you see Rose coming out of pit road already, and he's passing one of the guys that still hasn't pit yet. So, again, Pete, that's why I just think the Delta isn't quite there if you want to nix a stop, because the 42 is just that bad fast.
Yeah, 42 has been screaming fast. Again, the pole position is no stranger to Rose at all. I mean, in the beginning of the NNR Cup season, he grabbed like the first 20 poles in a row. I mean, the guy's just been on a tear all season. It actually got to a point where Coey started to use a random number generator to give other people a chance to start from the front row. So yeah, he was that fast. But working our way through the field, catching up. It looks like Colin Hobart in this 13 machine. He's going to head off pit road, get back out on track. Now here's a little bit of a battle between Gist of My Fist, and I believe that's going to be the 28 of Boehner. So 88 and the 28. A little bit of contact. This is actually a battle right now for P5. Boehner's got it and Gist wants it.
Yeah, and I mean, you were talking about how Aviator couldn't make it. Well, I was looking at the rosters getting ready to prepare for tonight, and I looked and saw that when I saw the list get released today because I was basing it off week 1, Rose wasn't even on the roster week 1, so somehow he snuck on the NNR roster in week 2 here to be in the road course program. Maybe a little favor Coey called in, but honestly, he's just on a tear right now. You can't say anything more about it. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to see Rose out here when I was prepping my notes for tonight's broadcast, because in week 1 he wasn't on the roster. It was you, Pete. So I didn't know what was going on, but I mean, we got treated to a dominating show here right now.
Yeah, he was actually able to be added. Coey had a conversation with Slide Job once they realized that I was actually going to be in the booth full time, commentating and calling and streaming these races. So Coey said, "Hey, I got somebody else I'd like to put on the roster as an alternate," and they hadn't yet set a tire on the track. So Coey was able to have Rose take my place, and so Rose wasn't able to be on the track for week 1, but week 2, NNR's got to be glad that he is.
Yeah, they're going to be really glad that he is, because they're going to need it, just with Rory already disconnecting from the event. So they need as many points as they can to overcome that. But up at the front, still same song, same dance, same verse even. You think we had the song on repeat the whole time. Did you like that one? I thought that was a good joke.
I get you, buddy. Yeah, you're 100% right. 42 of CGMX Rose still out there with a commanding lead. Just now trying to get by that 13 of Colin. Caught up to his back bumper. Again, all of NNR rocking these red, white, and black paint schemes, all the colors of the NNR logo. 13 not going to go easy into that good night, as the 42 is going to try to put him a lap down. So right now your top 5, CGMX Rose, Boehner running P2. The 3 car of Rowdy, almost said 13, taking it back a little bit. God Power in P4 and a More Smoke in P5. So right now, an all NNR top 5.
In P5, yeah, More Smoke, but Holy Nugget is right there. He actually got just kind of a part of a coagulation of NNR SWATs was getting out of the way, and there was another lap car from a little on the high side that was catching right at the same time as Moore and Holy Nugget were catching. Nugget got a little loose, smacked the inside wall just a little bit, but he's back under power and going, only about 2 to 3 car lengths behind More Smoke. But as they're getting ready to end this first stage, only a handful of laps remaining, possible one more pit stop here for at least guys like Rose and Boehner, maybe. If you're talking about God Power, maybe he can go and kind of forego that extra stop. Certainly, I think the 88 also forewent the stop. So we'll have to see how it shakes up with the pitting and the not pitting. But I think everybody, for the most part, one more stop here. Just two guys that might throw a wrench in it here.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but we just saw the 42 yeah, now I almost said more smoke. 42 of Rose actually get by the first or possibly the second car from a little on the high side. So if they are trying to work out a strategy, it's going to take you longer to get around this place than it will for you to get on pit road, grab 4 brand new tires, just enough gas that you need in order to complete the remaining circuits in P1 and then get back out there. So even if these guys are trying to slow down, go an extra lap or two, I don't think it's going to be quite enough with 9 laps remaining, Dohar.
Yeah, it's truthfully not, and with that many laps to go, everybody I think is on the same strategy. Everybody's going to be doing one pit stop here. Now in stage 2, you might see it because I think stage 2 will be about 2 laps shorter. Might be a little bit more practical, but we'll see how many cars are even on the lead lap after that's said and done. Because we're talking. Rose is already on the backstretch. Boehner is just now going into the kink. That's how far separated these guys are. Like. He's putting it on. He's waxing them pretty good here, to put it lightly.
Yeah, Rose is definitely putting on a show, and he has as for he was out here practicing last night when I was able to catch up with some of these guys, and believe it or not, he actually wasn't the fastest. Some of these other guys were. Parzival put down a blistering lap. He was the first one I saw get into the 1:15 once, and then Boehner got there, and then a few other guys got there. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch up with any of the high racers to see what they were capable of, get to know some of the guys. But man, so far these guys they're putting on a hell of a show. They've been green since the drop of the flag.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job. I'm sure, Rose has been practicing a lot. He always does. He practices to the wee hours in the morning, just turning laps and basically being robotic. But it leads to darn near perfection on the racetrack. As we see it tonight, he's going to put a healthy majority of the field lap down, which is going to make it a little bit easier on him once we start stage 2 and then eventually go into stage 3. But for right now, the slobber knocker continues as Rose gets ready to pounce on his next victim.
Yep, looks like Rose is actually going to woe it up and bring it on down pit road this time. He was actually catching up to the next high side guy out there on track and almost had enough time to put him a lap down, but not quite. Looks like, according to Boehner's stream, he's got one more lap in the tank. So looks like Rose is pitting 1 lap before everybody else, but he's been full throttle the entire time. I almost wonder if maybe he's using up a little bit more gas than the rest.
Well, generally, the faster you go, the more gas you use up. The only time I've never really believed that statement is one time we were doing a race like a practice race at Homestead for the Pro League, and we were all saving fuel, but Lucky Dog was out there going faster and saved more fuel than like me, Track Bar, and Brian, who were all drafting together. So I've always believed that statement, but at least it reigns true today. The faster you are, the more fuel you're using. Now, the reason why we might have seen that gap really increase between Rose and Boehner is this is really confusing, Pete, but Rose is going into turn 3 just coming off pit road, and Boehner is just now going into the kink. So, that's how much gap Rose had over Boehner, that he's not that far behind him. I wonder if Boehner's saving, realizing that maybe he can cut out that extra stop and maybe thinks it's worth it. I don't know. It's hard telling without, seeing how he's driving the place, but just really odd that he lost so much time to Rose after he hung with him basically through the first 2 stops.
I've got to agree with you. Actually, looking at Boehner's stream right now, he's sitting P1 with God Power about a full second behind him, then Holy Nugget, CGMX Rose, and then Obi-Wan. So Boehner is actually just now going to come on down pit road. So he went an extra lap and a half after Rose pit, considering he had to make up that time that he was behind. And he's just now coming down. 7 laps remaining in stage 1, and we mentioned they can only go 6 laps of fuel. So this might work out to where some of these high side drivers are going to be able to grab some points off of fuel consumption. This is going to be a very interesting finish to stage one.
Well, they're going to at least be able to grab some points in general with Rory disconnecting and with Swats just trying to hang on at this point, because I think Swats has gone several laps down now. So we'll have to see as God Power actually gets out of pit road right in front of Boehner. They're going to be coming down into turn number 2. And Rowdy's going to be not too far behind him, actually, as he goes by Swats now. Swats gets out of the way there, lets them on by. But they've really extended that gap over Amore and oh gosh, what's his name? Holy Nugget. And Holy Nugget is actually past Amore now.
Yeah, Holy Nugget got past Amore. In front of Nugget right now is Rowdy, and then Boehner, God Power, and then, as you mentioned, Noggin. So once this all cycles out, I'd be very, very interested to see how this is going to play. Boehner's got to be very, very familiar or aware of what's happening with his fuel. This is something that I thought about during the practices, and not sure if I brought up again when being able to watch NNR during this week. One thing you couldn't really take into effect is the draft that you get. This track actually has some pretty long straightaways. Getting into the draft, getting a little bit higher of an RPM, you got to wonder if they're burning more fuel and it's not exactly 6 laps, like maybe it's 5.5, because of the additional speed that they're carrying in these long straights.
It could be, as we see Rose really slowing up, so Rose must realize there's a gas situation going on because he let a lap car go by. He went a little wide into the second half of the kink and let C. Marcel go by, and now is trying to draft behind him on the straightaway. But draft is a little weird from a gas consumption standpoint because it's going to help you go faster, but it actually will reduce your RPMs just a little bit because there's less resistance. It really... fuel mileage is going to be dictated by what gear you're running and RPMs. It's really based on those things. So if you got a guy who rather would run in third gear in a turn like this, in turn 1 here, he's going to save a ton more fuel than a guy who's going to run in second gear. But that guy in second gear is also going to get more wheel spin. So it really depends. But we really see Rose backing off the pace now. So he must realize fuel mileage is really coming into play because he's really backed off very, very noticeably.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm actually sitting on him right now, and you can hear it just in the motor how far off the throttle he is. I mean, it's so much so he's actually having an issue navigating the course under less power after being in such a great rhythm. So he realized what's going on. Boehner's realized what's going on. As he goes into some of these corners, he's really jamming it into neutral, trying to save as much as he can. So all these guys realized what High Side was doing and trying to steal back any additional track that they may have lost. You mentioned that Rose let a guy go on by, a guy that he had just lapped. Now that guy is actually staying right in front of him. So that kind of just goes right along with what these guys were doing, really saving a whole lot of fuel to try to get those 2 extra laps per fuel cycle.
I mean, the big advantage for Rose is he has darn near 3/4 of a track lead. He's coming out of turn 1. These guys are just going into the basically by pit road right about now. So Rose is way ahead of these guys. He can back off if he wants and save. But I always came from the standpoint, Pete, I'd rather save it early than save it later, because it's hard to save it later. If you got a guy who, if you're trying to save, let's say for a guy like Boehner who pitted 2 laps later, if you got to go, man,
can you
4 laps
back to the race, please?
Yeah, I can do that. We'll get you back here, Pete.
In the meantime, I'll go ahead and pick up the stream from Boehner. You won't really be able to hear any audio, but at least you'll be able to see what Boehner's got in front of him and what he's got to deal with. So we'll minimize the loss of signal here. Hopefully this won't be a thing. And we'll as soon as I get back, we'll definitely get you back. But right now, as you can see, Boehner in the 28's got the 0 of God Power right in front of him. Rose P1. God Power P2, Boehner P3, Rowdy in P4, and Holy Nugget holding the torch for High Side Racing right now. Thank you, sir.
No problem at all. Holy Nugget has gotten way far away from Amore, so if fuel's on the mind, it's not on the mind of Holy Nugget as he is broken away and he's getting ready to catch Rowdy, it looks like. Again, these guys are so spread out where if a guy like Rose pits, he's not going to really finish any worse than maybe third in the stage. So really interesting. It's always interesting as a field strategist to see how everybody else does this. It's just really interesting. If I was in Rose's position, I wouldn't want a lap car in front of me just because I don't know what that lap car is going to do. He might make a mistake that's not his fault at all. It just, a mistake and it ruins your race. So just interested to see what everybody's doing. But I guess we'll see how it plays out in probably about 3 more laps, Pete?
I think that time that time by Boehner's stream was showing me 2, so he's still struggling. CJMX Rose still staying behind that car that he had lapped, but he let him go on by once he tried to get into fuel conservation mode. But yeah, like you mentioned, Rose has completely checked out, even with this slower pace that he's running and the rest of the field trying to meet that. He's still 19 seconds ahead of God Power in second place.
Yeah, he is, and I'm guessing he's taking the white this time, perhaps. So, really, the battle's going to be for second. But I'll tell you what, it feels on the mind. It's not on Holy Nugget's mind. He is catching up to Rowdy, and he's about to pass him.
Yeah.
So either he's going to run that sucker out of fuel and just coast it the last half lap here, or he's good to go, and he's going to push and try and get up to fourth here.
Yeah, I tell you, watching some of these guys, it's kind of interesting, Dor. You're used to running this place as flat out as possible. Maybe just checking up enough at the top of these corners, these long sweeping corners like we just saw Parzival, I'm not Parzival, God Power and the 28 of Boehner go down. And then get back on it. You're used to being in the throttle as much as possible that they're checking up so much it's throwing off their strategy. It's throwing off their points. Where they were getting on the brake to set the nose, where they were able to get back on the throttle as the 0 and the 28 continue to battle. But it looks like these guys are going to be good to go. So first through fifth right now, if every stand's able to make it all the way around on fuel, CGMX Rose, God Power, Boehner P3, Rowdy P4, and Holy Nugget sitting in right now in P5.
Yeah, Holy Nugget's getting ready to come through that last left-hander and the last right-hander. He made a valiant effort, almost got to Rowdy there as Rowdy was having trouble with the lap car. But he's going to cross the start-finish line here, and he should be okay to go. And that'll be stage end. So he's getting P5 there to lead that, and we'll kind of get you the rest of the top 10 here once Boehner's stream loads, because I don't remember who went a lap down and who didn't, Pete.
Yep, as you called it, Rose, God Power, Boehner, Rowdy, Nugget, Amore Smoke, Obi-Wan, Noggin, Coey, and Gist of My Fist. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for NNR versus the 4 from High Side Racing. So NNR pulled off 6 out of the top 10, but it's still pretty close. Like you said, with Rory Breaker, blowing the motor or whatever happened, that's going to be points that automatically go towards High Side Racing.
Yeah, it's going to be automatic that they're at least going to get stage points so they can't get clean swept. And with SWATs, again, being a couple laps down, that also means they're going to get at least 2 drivers in the top 10. But as we get ready for the restart here, it's going to be really interesting to see, because one thing about Nugget, he started really in the middle to the back of the field, and he got all the way up to P5. So now that he's higher up in track position, Pete, I'm looking to see if that guy from a little on the high side can maybe get into the top 3 here and maybe really get some points.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, also one thing NNR realized what High Side Racing was trying to achieve, trying to maybe cut one full stop. And do you think it was too early in that to really show their hand, or do you think
Oh,
they had to do that right from the get-go in order to make sure they could maximize their points against, like you mentioned earlier, a David and Goliath kind of scenario?
I think they just kind of just went out there and did their thing. I mean, and one thing I've told my guys when we're running is just minimize the mistakes you're going to make. If there's a turn where you're indecisive, if you're going to run gear 2 or gear 3, just run gear 3 through the turn. That's going to save you fuel, but it's going to save you the embarrassment of spinning your tires and maybe spinning out. But as we're saying that, Holy Nugget is up to P3. He's going to have a whale of a fight with God Power, give him a good old boot scoot and boogie door check in the last time in the kink. So we'll see. I don't think Nugget will take too kindly to that. But I tell you what, he's doing a whale of a job. And then you've also got, who is that other? I don't know who the other little on the high side guy is, but he's running up there, in the top 5 fighting for it too. So he's doing a fantastic job right now.
I think you might be talking about the 55 of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Yep. And actually, Parzival just checked into the chat. I thought I saw his car, but I wasn't quite sure what happened. But he lagged out. He's saying good luck to the NNR guys. So now,
Oh no.
man, I tell you, that's 2 cars down for NNR, where High Racing still has all 10 of their vehicles, navigating this massive Canadian sports complex. So it's NR is really going to have to maximize what we've seen in in round 1 of Racing Doha, where even a team missing a car or two was able to come home with the win, but it's still points that are left on the table for High Side, so they've really got to maximize their efforts and doing that they possibly can to get up front.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching this battle here. I mean, Nugget's doing a great job running up front. His right side door, his left side door, they're going to be all bashed in. God Power didn't do him any favors, and Rowdy ain't doing him any favors. And you've seen Rowdy enough, and I've driven around Rowdy enough. When he's hitting your door, it's not good for anybody involved. But I think Nugget's just best off here, just letting the 3 go by, because the 3 at this point is just being a fly in just all around him. But I mean, realistically, Pete, you have to look at it as NNR is going to get the bottom 3 spots here. They have the 2 lag outs, and then with Swats being multiple laps down, I think 3, maybe even 4. He's realistically just out of contention here. And if a little on the high side just plays their cards right and maybe beats a couple other drivers, or somebody comes into trouble, let's say like Coe or even a Moore gets speeding penalties in the last segment, that's where you can really see those lag outs really hurt, because all Little on the high side has to do here is just stay clean, stay on the track, and I think they still have a fighter's chance.
Absolutely, and NNR is really going to have to dig deep in order to pull this out. I mean, they right now got 4 of the top 5 spots. You got CGMX Rose in first, Boehner in second, God Power in third. They were pretty consistent in those 3 spots during stage 1. Then you mentioned it before, Holy Nugget in P4, and then Rowdy in P5. Right now, riding along with a more smoke sitting in P6, and then I think that's going to be the 24 of Coe in P7. So NNR really trying to do everything that they can, but High Side Racing has to really get to whatever they can to max. I mean, you can't say maximize points enough in order to really get it to sink in.
Right, that's going to be huge for these guys. But we're going to see how it shakes out, because these guys got to get through just about as many pit stops as they did in stage 1, and they've got to manage as many laps now. Now, granted, they've got all their adjustments in, but now you're just really playing the track position game. But good battle here for about the P7, maybe P8 spot. You got a 78 a Cowboy under attack from the rest of the high side brigade. You got Obi-Wan Ben going to be right behind him, trying to take advantage and get to him, as well as an 88 of Fist is going to be behind them. So Obi-Wan and Fist are going to have to work together here to navigate the back half of the NNR team. But right now they're just relying on Nugget to get as far up as he can, and maybe something happens to the top 2 up there where Nugget can could start contending for the win. But overall, I mean, these guys just racing super clean. Couple door checks here and there, but overall, they're doing a fantastic job, exceeding my expectations.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure two communities that have never raced against each other. I think I had overheard Coey mention he tried to reach out to Highside Racing to see if they were able to get some kind of a practice or an exhibition, kind of like what they did in round one, but it unfortunately didn't come to fruition. So everybody is just meeting each other on the track for the first time tonight, and I think they've done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, they really have. But now Rowdy catching up to Nugget and racing him as hard has allowed him more smoke to basically get up to him as well. So now that battle for fourth place is going to be between three cars as we see Moore doing a little bit of extracurricular lawn care service. Go back in the last right-hander, get ready to go to start-finish. I think Nugget's racing out his rearview mirror more than his front because that three car scared him with how many times he's dove it in there trying to get to him and rattle his cage. But them battling and duking it out as they have has really allowed him more smoke to catch up to him.
Yeah, just caught up with the three of Rowdy, as you just said. He's definitely got a reputation in NNR as being a very, very hard racer. Talking about blocking and moving, a little bit of door contact as we're watching right now between him and I believe that's going to be the 98. Three's going to go ahead and grab the position. NNR's More Smoke is going to want that spot next as they're coming through the hairpin.
Yeah, they're coming through the kink there, and Moore got in a little hot, but is going to come out even hotter, and he's going to get that spot. So now suddenly Nugget goes from 4th to 6th. And now Coey is looking to get in on this battle and is going to pass him. So I wonder if the 98 might be kicking in the fuel gear a little earlier. Might have just had a hiccup there because he's been really slow on the straightaway as Coey wafts it in there, washes up. 98 is going to be able to take that position back. And guys are getting ready to pit. So, yeah, that 98 was definitely saving Pete. He was getting his lap early. And going from there, I think he's going to be the only one on the racetrack right now of the leaders. He'll be your leader here.
Yeah, Boehner looks like he's also come down 17 laps remaining. Again, they're taking about 6 laps per full tank of Sunoco E15 racing fuel, getting 4 brand new sticker tires on that thing, going to try to get back out and make up some time or save some time depending on what they want to do. You figure if they're going 6 laps of fuel, give or take, we can't say for sure with what they've all been trying to do, it seems, which wasn't really a conversation I could tell you during the last week, at least on the NNR side. But that's going to leave 5 laps out somewhere that they're going to have to try to do something with.
2 cars stayed out, and it was 2 a little on the high side competitors. It was Nugget and it was Obi-Wan Ben. So they're starting it early. I don't think they've got enough on it to do a big dent that they'll need in the points, but they'll at least give themselves a shot here to go for it. Oh, as Marcel was going a lap down there, Boehner was coming out of the hairpin. They made some contact, so Boehner's going to get woed up there and slowed up, and that's going to allow Rose to get away. Now Marcel pulls over here. I think he's going to let him go. Maybe not. Be interesting to see what's going on here. I don't know. They're going to the right-hander, and then he gives Boehner the preferred spot there. So Boehner moves back up to P2 and is going to try to reel in that 42 as he has all day.
Yep, 14 looks like he's going to take it on down pit, so that's going to hand the lead back over, I believe, to the 28 of Boehner. I think.
No, it's Rose. He's in turn 2.
It's actually going to be Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is about 11 seconds ahead of Rose, so once Ben pits, it'll cycle back to.
Oh well, Obi-Wan is still out there, so now he's got 2 laps. And I think Nugget is just coming off pit road now. So he's going to rejoin his battle with Coey, Rowdy, and More Smoke. So Obi-Wan getting all the fuel in early. He's really saving it all early here, because he's going to get ready to pit pretty soon.
Save 5 laps in two green flag pit stop rounds?
Dude, I don't know.
This is a huge course.
My boy, I like what Obi-Wan's doing. I appreciate his fight, but Rose is only like maybe 8 seconds behind him.
3.5. So he was.
Oh no! There he's already passing him. So
Yeah.
At what risk did you do that? You just got passed, and now you're hitting pit road. So I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's just saving it all now and he's just going to run hard the rest of it and hope for the best. But I mean, appreciate the effort and the thinking outside the box. But at the end of the day, all it got you was a little bit of TV time. It's not going to get you anything on the racetrack if the 42 was already 3 seconds behind you by the time you entered pit road.
Yeah, I mean, you figure Rose came full bore past him as he was trying to woe it up to get on the pit road. I don't see the benefit, but man, we're not behind the wheel. I mean, you've been there. You've been there many times. I've seen you win races on fuel. I've seen you lose races on fuel. But this is a much larger course than your standard cookie cutter or short track or oval.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to pacing. It comes down to what's realistic for the fuel-saving pacing. If you got to save 5 laps and change over the course of 3 pit stops, that's a lot. That is a lot, especially, you're trying to cut out a full fuel run in 3 stops, so you got to extend your fuel tank a third longer. Whereas for me, most of the time I find that it's only beneficial to cut out that stop if you got to basically save 25% of a fuel run. And extend your fuel economy basically by 25%. But some guys at certain tracks have been able to get to that 30-ish% mark. That's where you really need a shifter to get that kind of fuel economy. It is extremely tough. It's darn near impossible to do it on pacing. If we were talking, Pete, a green flag at the end of the race with, let's say, 8 laps to go and you get 5 in the tank, then I could see you pulling the strategy Obi-Wan just did. But when you got more laps to go after that and you're already so far behind,
Can you send me
you're
I don't know what's
you're not gaining it. You're not gaining anything. So I'll get you back in, Pete.
Appreciate
No
it.
problem. I'll talk all day about fuel strategy, but I mean, it's just always interesting, and they might be in a position where, as a team, they're saying, we're going to throw everything against the wall here and at least give ourselves a chance. If we pit on the same lap, we're just going to be running where we are. So at least they're trying, but it's something that you just want to think a little bit extra of and be cognizant about. When you're doing it, you just got to be aware of your pacing.
Absolutely. You got to make sure that but you got to realize early, like you mentioned earlier, that you're going to try to do something like that. You can't go into it, halfway, or coming back to it. Yeah, you can't think about it if you realize, hey, I'm gonna have to try some kind of strategy later on. You've got to do it from the beginning if you're going to try it at all.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. It's just there has to be something there for you to realize it. Whereas in this one, I think Obi-Wan was on his own little island. I think he was maybe thinking something was gonna work better in his head maybe than it actually did. I don't know. It's not my place to judge in that way. Just to try and basically evaluate whatever he's doing and analyze from that standpoint. But I mean, these guys are just, same song and dance from stage 1. Got your top 2 out there that's been. I was trying to find, there was a good battle going on. There was somebody getting up behind Nugget there, and I don't know who it is. It's somebody from NNR. I think it's Cowboy. Cowboy's doing a really good job coming to life here in stage number 2. He's getting ready to battle for that 6th position. Actually, it might even be P7 because I believe Coey is now in P6 if he's still running up there in front of Nugget. So they're doing very well here, but NNR really starting to get some breathing room here as they're really starting to dominate the second stage.
Yep, caught up here with NNR Rowdy. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I'm sorry, not Rowdy, Cowboy. I was actually pleasantly surprised. Cowboy's been spending a whole lot of time on iRacing. It's not very easy to go from iRacing back to Heat 4 or Heat 5, 2 completely different disciplines, way different physics, graphics, I mean everything. So a big tip of the hat to Cowboy for being willing to come on over here, run this showdown after spending a whole lot of time on iRacing and still being very, very competitive. So good job to Cowboy.
42's on pit road, so that second set of stops getting ready to kick off here. About how many laps do we have to go, Pete?
11 laps remaining.
So they're still going to have one more stop after this, yeah?
Yep, I would imagine. 'Cause I don't think anybody's saved enough to go four extra laps. I just don't see. I don't think so anyway. But I've been wrong. I've been wrong. You know, HD's favorite saying, "We're just winging it," and that's exactly what we're trying to figure out here.
There goes Nugget. So he's going by now. He's doing his extra lap. As the rest of these guys, pretty much all Team NNR is in pit road right now. Rowdy slams a more going into his pit stall. If that was iRacing, that would actually be the case, but just good old heat physics. We love it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to see if anybody else is still on the race. I mean, obviously Obi-Wan is going to still be on the racetrack, but he still hasn't gone by yet. These boys coming out now. There's SWATs. Where's Obi-Wan? Oh, he's already gone by. Okay, I missed him. Obi-Wan is just in front of Boehner to give you a relation. Obi hasn't pitted, and second place is right on his butt.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan is looking at Boehner's stream. Obi-Wan's a little all over the place right now, so they may have to watch that guy for any kind of lag, but looks like CGMX Rose is in P2 right now, Obi-Wan P3, Boehner P4, God Power P5, and a more smoking P6. Our leader, Holy Nugget, I believe he's coming on down pit road right now, and I believe if we kind of watch, we'll actually see. Yep, there goes
42 went by.
Screaming on by.
Yeah, that pace is just you can't compete with that when he's putting down a pace like that. It's impossible. I mean the roboticness and the precision that he has, it's crazy. He does this a lot though. He practices until he gets it perfect. He's learned very well from the likes of Lucky Dog, where you practice for hours and hours until you get it perfect, and that leads to the results you're seeing on the racetrack where, to put it bluntly, nobody can touch him, not even his own teammates.
Yeah. Lucky had a to talk about him for a second. He had a pretty great season, but I tell you what, even though Track Bar didn't come home, with the big trophy, Track Bar had a phenomenal season. I have to imagine that he set just about every pro league record there in season 2. So huge accomplishment for Mr. Track Bar in season 2, and I'm pretty sure he's probably a shoo-in for season 3 already.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you look at the season that he had, it was darn near unbelievable. It was, they say video game numbers. We are on a video game, but it was video game numbers. I mean, the guy had 8-9 wins. He had the same amount of poles. He led just about every lap. We actually had a bet over under how many laps he would lead in the finale. Most of us said 100. He led a little bit more than that between all 3 races. And it was unfortunate, the circumstances that led to him not winning the championship, but when 30 grand's on the line, you see the real inside of people and what they wanted, and it was just ironic being on the inside, Pete, because the driver that ended up initiating the contact, the prior 2 races had asked that he be race clean by the driver that he made contact with. So just the irony of the situation, but I tell you what, you thought Brooks was on a tear already, dude? You wait till next season. He's gonna be driving like a pissed off teen.
I don't doubt it. I know. I mean, you can already imagine how 29's lagging a little bit right in front of God Power. You could already imagine how Hannah and what's this? Sorry. Who was broadcasting right alongside of her? I'm sorry, just drawing a blank right now.
Rusty Obi-Wan is in now.
Yeah, Rusty Walrus. Yeah. You can imagine.
Oh wait, Obi-Wan's just coming in. Wait, before you that thought. How many laps to go? Obi is just pitting.
He's next time
he can maybe. this could be his last stop. He might be able to squeeze out. He's not going to get P2. He's not going to be Boehner, but nobody else was really behind him, so he might be able to get P3 out of here, Pete. I might have been a little bit premature on criticizing his strategy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now Rose is up front, 10 seconds of Boehner. Then it's back to God Power, more Smoke and Rowdy. So it's an NNR all top 5. Sorry, kind of got static on the camera there. Watching this all. Worm Rider, it's going pretty good. It's been green since the drop of the flag, and these guys have done a phenomenal job. NNR took 6 or 7 of 6 of the top 10. They did have a couple with virtual blown motors in the beginning, both Parzival and Rory, but NNR still holding strong. But these high side racers, they are trying everything possible in order to get ahead and a little bit of fuel mileage.
Yeah, and I think I got a points update based on how the stage went, Pete. My math's probably a little raw, but 41-14 NNR is my count based on those guys a little on the high side getting, I think, 5th, 7th, 8th, or 9th and 10th. So I think I got that right. I'll double check my math later, but that's a rough estimate, 41-14 NNR here.
Gotcha. Well, you asked for a lap count. Last time Boehner went on by, there were 6 laps remaining, so I imagine everybody will be coming on down pit road this time.
Except Obi-Wan.
Except Obi-Wan. But has Obi-Wan lost too much time? You can get on down pit road and get off. If you've been saving a whole lot of gas, I mean, if he went in for a short pit, but Rose has been able to blast by every single time, I just don't know if the track is too big for that.
Yeah, he's not going to win the stage, Pete. He's not going to get second. But there's such a gap between Boehner and third place God Power.
Yeah.
Where I think that's where Obi-Wan slots in, is in that gap, because Obi-Wan actually, and maybe it was Boehner just taking it easy, or maybe Obi-Wan kicked up the pace when he realized he was probably good. But Obi-Wan stayed in front of Boehner up until he pulled into pit road for those 2 extra laps. So Obi was actually able to stay right there pretty much. So I give him credit. He might come away with a P3 and at least, again, puncher's chance going into the final stage, get him a podium spot in stage 2, give him a shot at least,
Yeah. They're most of the high side racers are running a little bit further in the pack, but they're doing everything that they possibly can. They're not matching NNR feed. I mean, that's just obvious. But they're trying everything else that they possibly can, running a little extra.
Here comes Rose
on the fuel, and I would imagine Boehner's probably going to come in this time as well. Let's catch up with these guys. Yep, here comes NNR Swats leaving pit road right now. Again, this 51 really has not been in contention. However, he's definitely still helping with points since Parzival and Rory Breaker lagged out.
Yeah, it definitely is helping with points, and I'm watching. It's going to be interesting to see what Holy Nugget does, because he's gone a lap extra than Rose and Boehner. He's not going to be able to cut out the extra stop, but maybe he takes 2 tires, maybe he takes fuel only. Oh, is Cowboy just sent a couple of the little on the high side guys got were a lap, like going a lap down to them, and there was just some major contact. Luckily they got on a pit road, I think, with minimal damage for Cowboy, but that was interesting. But actually, Pete, while we were talking, God Power made his pit stop a lap before Rose and Boehner, so he pitted with 6 to go. So he's really stretching it on the, oh my gosh, and I just followed with Swats, and he just did a Jimmy Johnson.
Uh-oh.
He just launched it into a turn. And oh boy. You're having a rough go.
Yeah. But I got to give credit to Swats. He's not the fastest, but he's absolutely hanging in there, doing everything that he can to help NNR.
Heck yeah.
Aviator wasn't able to make it, but he's in there. He's hanging tough. He's still just about to the end of stage 2, and right, you were kind of curious where Holy Nugget would fall into place. Well, right now Rose is in first, Holy Nuggets P2, Boehner P3, Obi-Wan in P4, and God Power sitting in P5. So Highside Racing is definitely very well set into the top 5 with about 4 laps remaining, I believe. Have to see how that filters out. We saw Holy Nugget pit 1 or 2 laps before Boehner. And if they're going 6 laps on a tank of fuel, we'll have to see if he's actually able to stretch that to 8.
Well, Nugget just hit pit road, so that's going to be a no.
Okay.
So we're going to follow along with Obi-Wan here because this is really going to be it. This is going to be their puncher's chance right here. It's going to be if Obi-Wan can stay in front of God Power, even if he can't stay in front of God Power and maybe stays in front of him more. A P4 is still good. It's still it's still very reputable. God Power is about 4 to 5 seconds behind Obi-Wan.
Yep.
And how many laps we got left to go, Pete? Coming to 3 to go, maybe even 2. It's gonna be it's gonna be tough to stay in front of God Power, but the gap behind God Power is huge to Amor and then Koei. So I mean, Obi-Wan's still gonna come out a little bit ahead of where he was. He's still gonna have a good points day. And honestly, Holy Nugget came out right behind Amor and Koei anyway, so he's right where he was.
Yeah, Obi-Wan. I mean that Nationwide Chevrolet, one of them that's out here on track for Highside Racing. It looks very, very clean. Don't see a whole lot of, if any, damage anywhere around any of those fenders. Maybe just a little bit on the right hand side, but that could have been due to that lag contact on pit road that unfortunately came about with one of the last updates in Heat 4 before they brought it all over to Heat 5. But he's absolutely trying everything that he can do, and really holding the torch for Highside Racing. Got to be impressed with Nugget.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Nugget, and honestly, yeah, I'm impressed with Obi-Wan too. I mean, I'm impressed with both of them because they're doing it differently, and they're going to come out about the same. I think once it all shakes out here. But honestly, they've done a very good job of fighting here. I think, Pete, we might be coming to 2 to go.
Well, there's
maybe when Boehner crosses the line. I don't know.
I'll definitely grab that as soon as he does. I know I said that before.
Oh gosh! Oh my gosh, Pete, I'm so sorry. The 88, to put it bluntly, just crashed, and it caught one of the NNR guys. I can't see who it was though, because they all look the same. I think it might have been Rowdy. I'm trying to scroll through. I just caught it. It was Amor. I think Amor's going to be okay. So we're on the last lap now?
Yep.
All right. Well, Amor's got some damage. So I think the battle's going to be between a Nugget and Amor. And it wasn't anything. The 88, you're coming off that second part of the kink, and you get wheel spin. And if you're getting past, and you're just trying to correct it, the car's just going to go wherever it wants, really, and that's just unfortunately what happened. It wasn't egregious or anything like that. It was just kind of just bad circumstances. But Pete, Obi-Wan still got about 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds over God Power, so he might be able to actually squeak out this P3 after all.
Yeah, your top 5 right now coming with about a half lap left to go. Keeping up with Boehner, you got CGMX Rose in P1, 18 seconds ahead of P2. Here again, Boehner. Obi-Wan, you just mentioned, running P3. God Power P4, and NNR Rowdy right there in P5. So NNR again, 4 of the top 5. You mentioned Amor. I'm on him right now, and yeah, he's got all kinds of damage to this Camaro. But he'll still come across. He had a pretty good gap to some of the people that he made contact with. As soon as the top 10 come up on screen, we'll shout them out as well. And
yeah, it ended up this stage there. Yep.
Yep, CGMX Rose, Boehner, Obi-Wan, God Power, NNR Rowdy, Amore Smoke, top 6, Holy Nugget, NNR Coey, Noggin Jr., and then Gist of My Fist. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top 10 were again NNR to the 4 that Highside Racing had in there. So Highside Racing still in there, and now Dohar, we're coming to the longest of the stages. What do you think's going to happen if these guys were trying to save a lap or two during these 8-lap stints versus what they've got to do now?
Well, I mean the 42 is going to win. I think those are your winning lottery numbers, regardless. Doing a fuel strategy in a longer run is so much harder, Pete, because you see the pace that the top 2 guys have. I mean, it's borderline ridiculous how fast they are. Oh, Rowdy's lagging.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Rowdy is lagging terribly. That or he just like shot off the corner kind of weirdly, but that was weird. But now the 26 and the 88 are going to be right there with Rowdy, and as the field conjoins back together, getting ready to go down into the kink. I'm starting to get some observer lag. Oh, Boehner stopped on the track. What's going on, Pete?
I'm not quite sure. I actually saw the 20s with a little bit of lag. Rowdy's looking pretty good, at least from what I just saw. But yeah, there's definitely some action, some contact out there on the track. We saw the 42 of CGMX Rose and the 28 of Boehner start on the front row there for the stage 3 restart, and they've started to scoot away. But yeah, there's definitely been.
God Power just crashed. God Power just crashed in the last turn.
Yep, I see him.
Something's going on, Pete.
Inside grass.
Yeah, something's going terribly wrong here. This is incredible, everybody. I'm trying not to ride along with Rowdy because that's what lags the most on my screen. But I'm trying to run along with Coey, and there's just so much lag around a couple guys. You can't even tell what's really going on.
Well, looks like for now, I mean, Bowling's out there saying his servers are terrible tonight, so that's very, very unfortunate. But one thing I'm glad about, and I saw some comments on the one of the Heat community pages that Rock maintains, talking about people lagging out during stage breaks or green flag pit stops. I'm glad that we haven't really had any of that. Knock on wood. But yeah, definitely seeing some contact in the front, and we'll have to see. Maybe that pace car is pulled out for the first time tonight, but so far we are still under here, Dohar.
Yeah, I mean now it's really going to come down to you got really fast guys like God Power and Boehner that are back in traffic. How are they going to be able to manage and negotiate? And if you're a guy like Obi-Wan Ben and you really want to do field strategy, now's the time to do it. You might be able to pop out a P2 finish out of this thing. With Boehner being back there, God Power's got some damage. If you're going to be able to throw a haymaker, you need the 42 to have an issue. But a little on the high side, at least, is going to have a chance here. As it's really going to depend on this lag situation. NNR Cowboy is already on pit road, so something going on there with him. Yeah, just a lot of craziness in the last, pretty much just a restart.
Who is this? Oh man. Okay, yeah, that's okay. You mentioned Cowboy on pit road. I was wondering if he had lagged out, but I saw his car rocking back and forth. So he took it down pit road early. Figured nobody really had a whole lot of gap on him in these first couple laps. He wouldn't have been lapped by CGMX Rose just yet.
Oh, so Boehner just about wrecked again, Pete. He's struggling with something.
There's Noggin, Swats, Shotgun. Trying to find, there's Rose, there's Boehner. Okay. Boehner's got the 13, again, the high side racing admin right in front of him, kind of dueling back and forth. Boehner should have the preferred line here going into this turn. Boehner had it all the way down, still a little bit of contact with that 13, but now he should have some clean sailing as he comes across the line that time. There's 24 laps remaining. So let's say everybody brought it down. I mean, not that I would. Pit road that time, there would be four full stops left right there. But yeah, Boehner is definitely struggling with some of the handling characteristics that he may not have had earlier in the race. Maybe got a little too aggressive, but that 13 is also definitely shoving him into that corner right there. Definitely heard the contact through the stream, not just seeing it on screen, but yeah, that 13's he got into the corner a little loose, and Boehner now able to get some gap.
Yeah, Obi-Wan, I mean, coming out the big the big benefactor out of that, because he's in P2 right now with really no threat behind him. I mean, Rowdy just got past Noggin to get into P3. Holy Nugget has kind of been having to negotiate all this mayhem and hasn't really been able to get out ahead. I think he might be saving some gas. If anybody is, I would expect him or Obi-Wan. Oh, Boehner oh my gosh, he just drove into the 88. What's going on with him? There has to be some lag, Pete. I can't imagine that Boehner would just drive into his door like that.
More than Cape. Cape just put something out there in chat saying apparently the entire lobby lagged out in the other race that started at 9 o'clock. So these servers, Dohar, I tell you, maybe when Mr. Pinnell joins your race here in just a little bit, you can find out what's going on with these servers and do whatever he can about it. Because they are, I mean, these with such a big showdown going on right now, you'd figure that they'd give a little extra oomph to, there's nothing going on with the pro league. That's all done for now. They don't need the extra bandwidth. Leave it alone. Let these other races go. So it's very, very unfortunate, but these guys will keep plugging along as they've been. But there's definitely some instability in the lobby, to say the least. Hey, Frozen, how are you?
Well, that's the thing, too, Pete, and just to kind of put that burden and ease to rest, I mean, I know everybody is probably, our community is pretty small. We all look and we all hear whatever we want to hear. A YouTuber named Iceberg put out there that, we run on a separate game, we run on separate servers, we get all these privileges as the Pro League. And I really want to vehemently put that to rest, and I'm very upset that kind of content is out in our community because it had no source material. Nobody was asked, nobody was consulted to even figure out the real story. It was just emotionally charged verbiage that leads to people believing that, believing that this is a result of something of our doing or anything. We see the same lag. Let's not forget, we had a Pro League race end prematurely at Eldora on the Xbox side. All of these servers, just to educate everybody, all the servers, PS4, Xbox, PC, if a Pro League lobby is going on, whatever, all lobbies, public, private, they go to the Amazon servers. Everybody gets lumped into there, and then, I don't know what the capacity is. Let's say theoretically it's maybe 1,000 people. So then it goes to the next server and the next server. And I think they have 3 to 4 dedicated servers for this game. And so when that traffic is high at hours such as this, when this is peak playing time, especially during the quarantine age we live in, that's what's kind of setting this up. So, I hope that not everybody out there is, just drinking on the iceberg Kool-Aid thinking that it's all our fault and we get special privileges and we're the result of whatever's happening here because we've been vocal about it ourselves. So I just hope that animosity is put to rest. That's my duty as a member of this community, as a Pro League driver. I want to put that to rest because we get to do a lot of things that get to help these games be a little better, and we certainly don't take any resources from 704. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this league as they do. So I just want to put that to bed. I'll get off my soapbox now.
I'm actually kind of glad that you cleared that up because, everybody out there that I've spoken with in many leagues, communities, whatever, all thought that the now it's not a blame game that the pro league was getting any extra bandwidth in order to be able to put on the show that that it was. It was just they would actually make sense if the pro league got a little bit more to make sure that it was put on properly, especially going to a mainstream media that Mav TV is. I'm pretty sure it was Mav TV. So for Hannah Newhouse and Rusty Walrus and all of you out there that were able to race it out every week, it would make sense to give you that little extra. But if that wasn't the case, I'm glad to hear it, but I'm also glad that with these server issues, I'm glad that we're not racing tonight during that free weekend that we had last week.
Right. I mean, even on free weekend, it was a bit of a struggle, and it just always has been. It's been since Heat 4, really once quarantine hit. There's just more people playing, guys. At the end of the day, which is a good thing. I think it's just an unanticipated thing. But they listened to us at the end of Heat 4's life cycle, adding a couple additional servers of dedicated, basically bandwidth for all of us to play on. And in Heat 4, that, it extended the life cycle a decent some. But I think they're still learning where the appropriate amount of servers to maintain is in Heat 5. Because, like you said, free weekend just ended up for Xbox. There's a lot of new content that's coming out that's getting a lot of new people in the game. You're adding Ryan Vargas into the Xfinity series. He's very popular. He's got a lot of following, so he carries a lot of clout. And there's been a ton of giveaways lately. So new players are getting on, and yeah, we're talking about minute things, but you add 50 to 100 more people on per night on a Tuesday night at this time, that could be the difference between what we're used to expecting and kind of server, I don't know, a server dissolving, basically. Yeah. It really comes down to those kind of numbers.
Look at his battle here with Jay Banner and the three that he's got. He's got 1, 2 NNR guys, and then let's see if I can actually get into this mix here. Looks like the 51 of SWATs, he's going to do the right thing and pull on down to the far right side. But Noggin Jr., he's in an NNR sandwich here. He's got, I think there's going to be the 24 of Coey and the 30 of Amor Smoke. These guys were just door to door, as looks like John Fry checking in the chat saying, for anybody out there that wanted a points update, 81-29 on the side of NNR. So right now doing the right thing, even though they're 2 cars down. If High Side can actually pull off what they tried to do in the first couple of stages and get more people up there in the top 10, they can still pull this out. So it is by far a done deal, as we're watching Noggin and the 24 Coey go screaming down that long straightaway here into this little bit of a carousel kind of turn. First a right-hander, then a left. Looks like Coey's going to have the preferred line as they pass on by the pits. They're going to come across the start stripe one more time. Next time Boehner comes on by, which is right now, grab us a lap count. 18 laps remaining. I can tell you right now, More Smoke is in 4th. God Power P5, Boehner P6. NNR Coey, which we just saw in P7, and Noggin right behind him right there in P8. But up front, it's been all the 42 of CGMX Rose. And it's been a couple of different people up there. Earlier it was Boehner, but as you mentioned earlier, Doar, some room instability and some cars making contact. It's kind of shuffled everybody around. NNR no longer just occupying the top 5 spots.
Yeah, I was about to say Obi-Wan having a great run in P3 behind Rowdy, who's in P2, but he got way loose off the kink and ended up giving up a spot there to Amor, so move Obi-Wan back to P4. Now NNR occupies the top 4, or the top 3, excuse me, and then God Power in P5. So still a good run right now for Obi-Wan. He's doing a great job right now. With that many laps to go, Pete, probably about 2, maybe even probably looking at 3 stops for most of these guys to end it out here. Not too many more laps than what we had in the actual stages, so I'm not gonna fall asleep, because I'll tell you what, I mean, Rose just putting it on. I mean, there's not been too much action on the racetrack past 5th place, but he's just doing a whale of a job, just getting her done, and you can't fault him for it. He's one of the best when it comes to presets.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys. I mean, you've heard me. I don't know how many times, Doar, when you go back and you watch an NNR stream, whether it's on Trucks, Xfinity, or Cup, but particularly the Cup side, talking about these guys being the best on Xbox. And I tell you what, being 2 cars short with Parzival and Rory Breaker lagging out kind of early, and NNR still having the lead, that just goes to show the strength in this NNR community. But on high side, they are throwing everything that they've got at NNR, and they're trying to keep it close on this last stage. And man, I got to give them all kinds of credit. They're just fight. They're not going to give up. They're fighting tooth and nail until the bitter end, trying to pull out any bit of strategy that they can. Most of all, we've seen fuel.
Yeah, I mean they're going to fight all the way up until the bell rings, and you got to give them credit for that. Watching my buddy Freaky Fast, he was asking me for some preset help because he doesn't really like road courses. He's been struggling, but still keeping it forward and trying to keep it on the track. So give a little shout out and love into Chris because Chris is one of my good buddies. I've known him since Heat 2 days. He was back in my league that I ran on presets before any of the good fortune happened to me that came within the Heat community. So Chris has always been a loyal friend, and I always just appreciate him. So I want to give him a shout out for just running a clean race and just doing what he can. But pit stops are already starting. I saw one darting down pit road. I'm assuming Cowboy's going to hit pit road here soon because he pitted that first or second lap of the stage, I think, as a result of some damage. But we got Colin Hobart. He's on pit road right now. He's going to get some service. And there was another Jay Banner's on pit road as well.
I think I actually just heard somebody pop into the booth here. Who we got?
Just you and me, dude.
Oh, okay, I thought I heard somebody pop in as you were just starting to talk. Sorry about that.
You're really hearing things. You really want to get rid of me. You're calling me HD. You're thinking other people are here. What are you doing, man?
Oh, I miss my buddy. I tell you. But man, it's Dar. Please don't take anything. I'm glad you're here, man. When I saw that you were going to be calling a race with me, I was actually kind of excited about it.
Hey Pete, wait. Yeah. Before we get into that, it's getting really interesting. All the NNR dudes are on pit road, but there's still one guy out there. It's the guy in front. Rose is still out there. So maybe the wheels are tinkering and turning there. Looks like a more smoke also stayed out. Obi-Wan Ben as well. They're still out on the racing circuit. So I don't know. There's a lot of racing left to go, but strategy playing out early on here in this stage. I thought it would be a little bit more clear cut. Obi-Wan and Nugget staying out, and then everybody else pitting. But looks like some other guys are picking up on what's going on.
Yep, 42 of CJ Max Road's coming down the road right now, so he's going to fill it up. Next time Banner comes on by, since he just came off pit road, I will grab us a lap count. And
Amor is on pit road. He just pitted. Obi-Wan stayed out.
There you go.
So here we go. It's starting already.
Yep. Obi-Wan, he seems like he's stayed out longer than others in both instances. So great to see him continuing to try that. I'd like to see how it all pans out in the end. Let me see. Who was that? Asbel out there in chat here, Dor, wants to know if you're going to be watching the American Ethanol race tomorrow night.
Yeah, I plan on watching it. If they need a pace car, I planned on volunteering myself to do that, just to help out. So I'll be really looking to watch that one. I mean, it's going to give me just a lot of knowledge, even as a pace car, just to enjoy and watch, having watched this race, because, you got Asbill over there. You've got Alpha York. You got a lot of guys who share and are a part of that NNR community. So you wonder what kind of data is going through. Those guys helping each other out, hey, I tried this preset, these adjustments, this didn't work, but, I did this later on and it ended up working. So, those guys are going to definitely be sharing notes and talking to one another and just helping their teams. And I think it's going to be a really good competition tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's race.
Yeah, NAOR is very, very strong. And I mean, not anywhere ran tonight. That's kind of. I was just thinking about the race that lagged out on the other side. I wonder if they got to halfway, if they considered that race official, or they're going to rack and stack them back up at some point and take a look at it again. I'm kind of curious how Sly Job and Fort Tough are going to take that race. Who was up front? Was it NAOR? Was it Fast Family? That was definitely another very, very strong race that was going on tonight. But yeah, tomorrow night is the American Ethanol race that we'll definitely have to keep an eye out. And for anybody out there in chat wondering where that race will be, it will be right here. So make sure you follow and smash that follow, the same as we've seen a couple doors smashed together tonight. Make sure to subscribe if you can. Definitely appreciate any help. And right about 9 o'clock tomorrow night, it's all going to go down, and we're going to be right back here from Canadian Tire. I will have Dub with me. You're very familiar with Dub. I'll also have not. I forget the one guy's name, but TN Balls will also be with me as well. Kid Dynamite, that was the other one.
Kid Dynamite's going to be out there, and Obi-Wan won his extra lap over Rose and Amore, and 2 laps over pretty much the rest of the NNR brigade. So we're going to see how this plays out. He's right in the hornet's nest right now. God Power was not cutting him any slack when he was coming out of pit road. He was racing the daylights out of him. We got Jay Banner back on pit road. Swats is currently on pit road. So this sequence has gone by the wayside, and probably what, Pete? Banner's getting ready to cross the start-finish line. I'm going to guess 13 laps to go.
Under, over, or on the money, 12. Hey, how about that? So if he just now went down pit road, he is right on. Talk about being right on the money. It's gonna be interesting. 6 and 6 take you right to the checkers. You should be good to go. As we'll just checked it out, said NAR was declared the winner due to being halfway. So that cleared up that question as well. So big congratulations to J-Paw. We talked about him a little bit earlier, right along with Stout Whiskey and several others. NAOR, congratulations on moving on.
God Power and Amore Smoke just had a little disagreement over some track position, which is going to lead to Obi-Wan Ben getting maybe a little bit more track position. I tell you what, God Power isn't doing anybody any favors, whether you're on a little on the high side or NNR. He's been driving out the mirror, I could tell. He is just fighting angry. He's got that rowdy kind of drive in him right now, where he's just you see the guy behind you, you know he's going to set you up for a pass, and you just kind of wail it off in there. I think that's what he's doing. But they're actually catching Rowdy, so this battle for second is about to heat up with 4 very fast cars and 2 heated tempers. So we'll see what happens. But right now, 11 laps to go, Pete. I don't know that Obi-Wan's going to cut out a stop. He might. It's going to be really close, but, I mean, Rose got it in the bag either way. I mean, Obi-Wan's doing better on pace than he was last stage, but Obi-Wan might get second. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call my shot. I think Obi-Wan gets second.
Well, he's got, God Power in that 0 car, the only one that doesn't match the rest of NNR. And then, as you said, Amore Smoke. I believe that's a little bit of instability in the lobby, or either that or just a little bit of looseness. But the 0 took it way wide, and the 55, I think, right there of Obi-Wan just kind of checked up to let the 0 back in. Otherwise, it would have forced him into the outside wall. So great sportsmanship by Obi-Wan right there, allowing the 0 of God Power to get back on track. Now, Boehner's stream is telling me that he's got 2 laps of fuel left in the tank. With 11 laps, give or take, I don't think he can go an extra 2 laps. I think he's going to have to – everybody's going to have to make one more full pit stop and then come on down. I'm going to guess for right sides. Maybe shorten it up as much as possible, and it should do you. 10 laps now remaining here, Dohar.
Yeah, with 10 to go, if Boehner's got a pit here, and that's the unfortunate thing is if in that first stint of this segment, if he had damage, you throw fuel saving out the window. That hurts your fuel economy so bad. Oh, as Rowdy gets off track, he is slow. He is darn near at a crawl. coming out of that left-hander, so he's going to fall back to 5th now. Obi-Wan Ben right on the tailgate of God Power, and oh my gosh, and there was some lag, and God Power's going to go around him more, and here goes Obi-Wan, and they're going to do a little bit of boot, scoot, and boogie. Let's hope the server just makes it.
I think Amore got wicked loose, maybe trying to downshift, get into that corner, maybe getting in there a little hot, jammed it from like 4th down to 2nd just to get it woed up, and that allowed the 0 of God Power to get around. And he's got some high side competition sitting right to his inside, but Moore's going to be able to duck down, block that line, and now they're all nose to tail coming through these lefts and rights.
Oh, big contact there. I think the 55 has just gotten tired of really getting. It's just good hard racing in my opinion, but a couple of the door checks have been a little bit extra, especially from Rowdy there at the beginning. So I think Obi-Wan's just driving a little ticked off now and saying he's going to take matters into his own hands. But as they head down a left-hander, I'm assuming pit stop's going to be coming up for most of these NNR boys that pitted on that first lap when the cycle opened last time by. Rowdy got way off track back there and now has lost a position to Boehner as God Power now slows up. These guys starting to run into some trouble. Now we're starting to see some mistakes being made, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, you see NNR GP or God Power and then Amore fighting back and forth where they really should just be going nose to tail, make these high side drivers try to get around the 2 cars together. That's a whole lot harder to do. But no, God Power, he's actually dropping back a little further. As we'll actually just put a score update into the chat saying it was 68-42. NAOR is the score though, and it seems like it. However, they're saying that Beast or Martin Chikala might have called that a little prematurely. It may not be official as of yet. So I'm sure the Fast Family and NAOR guys will get together and they'll talk all that out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, if the server lags, and I guess if they got through 2 stages, it should be official in theory. But we got a couple cars really stopped on the racetrack. Colin Hobart in the 13 is at a crawl right now, about to go down pit road. They must have. I'm scrolling through the field and just seeing cars falling off by the wayside. But I think we're at 8 laps to go, Pete. So,
slowly moving over to the right side to be able to get on down pit road.
Rowdy just came out of pit road, so I don't think he can go the distance. Coey's coming out of pit road. I don't think he can go the distance. I think everybody else is going to be okay. 7 laps, I think, is realistic. You're going to see some pace slowage from the guys that have to go 7. If, like, Rose pits here, which he is, so he's pitting coming to 7 to go. He's going to have to back off the pace a little bit, but I don't think he's going to lose anything.
Looks like High Side Racing has actually lost had their first casualty. The 99 of J Banner 09. He's parked on pit road, not moving around, no tires, no fuel, no nothing. So 1 car down, but they've still got at least 1 car up on NNR. NNR's still down to 2 drivers. Looks like Boehner's head down pit road right now. 6 laps in the tank. 8 laps remaining here, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's just gonna really depend on that situation. If Jay Boehner lagged out with enough laps left for like a guy like Swats to pass him as Obi-Wan goes by Swats, who is stopped against the inside wall. So if Swats can get that position, that's gonna be critical for NNR to just kind of lock up this round. But when you're talking in terms of the bye and really wanting to set the precedent, you need every single point that you can. And I'm sure the NNR guys want that bye going into Super Speedway week, which is going to be a big old wild card for everybody. So I'm hoping, for my sake as an eSpark guy, I'm hoping, this is a close race. But right now, these guys are doing a good job. Just everybody on the racetrack. I mean, minimal contact. Obi-Wan went an extra lap over Rose. So he's pitting coming to 6 to go, I believe, Pete. He's gonna have to save maybe a little bit, but not a lot. And Rose wasn't that far ahead, maybe 8 seconds or so, and that could go away over the course of saving. So let's see. This race might not be over yet. I might not cash the check yet.
No, I'm definitely not calling it either. It's way too early as the four NNR cars, trailing down this long straightaway underneath the NASCAR Cup Series bridge. Canadian Tire, logo and all that right there, all headed by the three of Rowdy. God Power sitting right there, tail end Charlie, coming through these lefts and rights one more time.
Here comes Obi-Wan. He's going to actually come out ahead of those guys from NNR, so he's going to gain some track position, and he's better on the fuel economy. So Obi-Wan really sitting in prime position to maybe even squeak out a second place finish here. So he's going to have the 30 of Amore smoke right on his tailgate. So they're going to head down through that winding right-hander, get ready to go to the quick left, and then the kink, the double rights. Amore's looking to take advantage, but with 2 laps fresher on Obi-Wan's tires, I expect him to pull away a little bit, and I'll try to get an on-track relation between those guys and Rose. Rose is in the back straightaway going into the right-hander now, so he's got a little over a quarter of a track, maybe closer to a third over Obi-Wan, so I might not cash a check. I might get a cashier's check ready though, Pete. Like, you just kind of you're ready to commit, but you don't know. You're ready to buy the ring at the ring store, but you don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, he's up. If it wasn't Rose, I would probably say Obi-Wan's got a real shot. But Rose is gonna know what to do. He's gonna pop that thing into neutral, going into these big turns, the big braking zones. It's just going to be is his pace still there and how hard, we're going to have to see how fast Obi-Wan really is.
Yeah, so for now we'll call it a postal money order and a ring pop. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
All right. 88 and God Power, they were just nose tail. God Power is able to move ahead just a little bit as see one more NNR car just now go down pit road as we've got just about 5 laps remaining, give or take. Once Boehner comes across the start stripe one more time, we'll go ahead and do that. Speaking of Boehner, but if you go back and you watch this, thank you very much for streaming and allowing us to kind of tag along for the help in both the lap count, which we're supposed to have in this Heat 5 game, as well as a position tracker, but still no dice. I guess the last we heard, it was going through QA, but hopefully we get those tools soon. I actually reached out to Zane today, Dohar, to see if he'd be willing to part with some extra tools, and they don't work in Heat 5. So, yeah,
bummer.
Bummer. I would have loved to. I would have even paid for them, but yeah, wasn't meant to be.
Oh, I would have paid for him too. I think we all would have. But Amore, or not Amore, I keep wanting to call Rose Amore. Rose is now just riding behind a lap car when I just checked in with him. Obi-Wan is coming off turn 1 right now, still with Amore right on his back bumper, but at least able to just keep it clean. I think Obi needs to see big picture here. If the 30's on his bumper, maybe just let him go because you got a P2 at least. No matter what, I just wouldn't risk it, Amore doing something that might put your position in jeopardy. I might just let him go here because you're good on fuel. He's questionable if he's good on fuel. Let him go and duke it out. But, at this point, I don't think you're going to catch Rose. At worst, you get P3. I think your best case is get P2. I say if you're the 55, let that 30 go on by and just cruise to the end.
Yep. Not quite sure who that was on the outside. It might have been SWAT, 100% sure. But CJMX Rose trying to look to the inside of the 14, now to the outside of 14. Looks like they are going to settle it amongst themselves. 14 knows 42 is fast. 14 put it in the wall. I just did the same thing you did. Rose able to get on by, and he's got nothing but clean track now in front of him.
And nothing but clean track. Saw a car go down pit road, I thought. Trying to get to it. It's Cowboy. So he's making his final stop of the evening. Going a lap down here. Here's Obi-Wan and Amore still battling it out. Obi-Wan is not listening to me. He's just going to keep battling that 30. I just don't want to see anything happen to either of these guys, especially for Obi. That's going to jeopardize kind of his great run he's having right now. He's doing a whale of a job, really. You look behind him, there's nobody. It's him and Amore battling it out here, and Rose just kind of his own zip code. So give credit to Obi-Wan. He's done the field strategy most of the night, but when it's counting, he's still got some speed there to back off on. So great run for that guy and being the torchbearer here for Highside.
Yeah, absolutely. Him and Amore continue to battle it out. Amore has the position. Of course, Obi-Wan wants it, but Amore's actually he's kind of in a high side sandwich right now. He's got one ahead and one right behind. A little bit of damage to the front end of that Camaro, but still kind of hanging in there. Moore's going to dive to the inside, get on by. Not quite sure if that car in front of him was a lap down or not. Sorry about that, Brad Rivers. Hopefully that should be a little bit better. I moved the mic a moment ago when I took a sip of water and didn't put it back. Thanks for the help. But
that was the 29 of my buddy Freaky Fast. He was a lap down, so he was just getting out of Dodge there, just letting these guys duke it out and battle it out, which is nice. We love to see that. So the lap cars have been, for the most part, very, very good. There's been a couple instances where just one has maybe gotten loose and caused a little bit of mayhem extra. There was a calamity on the front straightaway there. Swats was going by and somebody was stopped. Cowboy was stopped on the front straightaway. I'm not sure what happened to him, but the Cowboy just has had a stage 3 that I think he's going to want to forget for a long time, Pete. Making a couple extra pit stops throughout.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You watch the right front of that 78 as he's coming on down that hill. The wheel looks like it's wobbling back and forth. So he's definitely not having the race that he would have wanted. But whoever that was just behind him completely blew that corner and ran way out. These NNR guys, they're going to have to try to get it together. Because I think there's quite a few high side drivers up in this top 5. I don't have a top 5 right now. Next time Banner comes on by, I believe it's going to be 2 to go, if I'm not mistaken. And I can tell you that the 28's fuel light is on. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. We'll have to see how this all plays out. I see the 98 trying to pull the inside of Coey. Coey's going to go ahead and let him go on by. I'm sure Coey right there probably in a little bit of fuel saving mode as well. And at the line this time, 1 lap remaining here, Dohar. 1 more lap. I'm going to bring it on up to that 42 of CGMX Rose. Hashtag Grow with Rose, and see how that young man can finish this off.
Yeah, the battle here is going to be for second. It really is. It's going to be between Amore Smoke and if he's got enough gas, and Obi-Wan Ben. They're coming down through the back straightaway, getting ready to end this one out. As Rose should be getting to the line right about. Oh, he's got one more turn, so we'll follow along with him. One more turn here for Rose. Let it wire to wire. Started from the pole. Now he's here. Victory for CGMX Rose. That's going to lead to a probable NNR victory as we go back to the battle for second. More Smoke looks like he's going to get the better of Obi-Wan Ben, but shout out to Obi-Wan as he doors his teammate, the lap car, one final time. More Smoke going to get P2, Obi-Wan Ben P3. How about that race?
Yeah, far it looks like God Power P4, Rowdy P5, Boehner in P6, Noggin in P7, and Nugget in P8. But I'll tell you what, Boehner is questionable on gas. I believe that his tack is actually flexing. We'll have to see if he's got enough fuel to make it all the way. He should. He's actually just ran out at the line. So, all right, your top 10, CGMX Rose, More Smoke, Obi-Wan, God Power, NNR Rowdy, Noggin Jr., Boehner, Holy Nugget, NNR Coey, and Gist of My Fist. Talked the first time we've called him in the top 10. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 10 are going to be NNR. Other 3 are high side racing. I'm pretty sure we can call that. However, this is where Slide Job and Ford Tough and all that go through any issues during the race, if there are any penalties, anything like that. One thing I didn't know, let's say we didn't have any caution, but if they did, and somebody called it out and it was a false caution, it's actually a 50-point deduction from their total. That could be huge, but no, we didn't have to worry about that. These guys went green to green, wire to wire. CGMX Rose has joined the very, very elite club of running and maxing out all three stages. So congratulations again, CGMX Rose, for Team NNR.
Yeah, Rose definitely taking advantage and getting the max points there. didn't race in segment 1, but it wasn't necessary. He comes out here in segment 2, gets that victory. More Smoke able to fend off Obi-Wan Ben and get that P2. Pete, I remember just a couple weeks ago when I was racing with him more at Watkins Glen and NNR, and he was crashing everywhere and just laughing and having a good old time. And I say he certainly got better with the wheel on the road course. That Watkins Glen race was interesting with Amore.
And you know what though? I got to give credit. We were talking about Rowdy and whatnot. This was the first race that Rowdy ran, and talk about rough time with a brand new shifter. He got about maybe 3 hours top practice on that, but for a guy to come out and run his first competition race on a brand new shifter, man, that also says a lot about that guy's skill as well. So congrats, Rowdy.
Yeah, congrats to Rowdy, but congrats to NNR as a whole for getting the victory. We'll get a final point total if we can before the end of the event. Now that we got the finishing order, and we can at least predict, where everybody fell in line. But Pete, you want to kick off the interviews? How you want to do this, brother?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to start with your pro league buddy, and let me see. Who do we have here? Fry Dog, you're here, right?
We got everybody.
Okay, Fry. All right.
Yeah, I'm here. Third place.
All right.
On the outside first.
What's that?
Who was third for the high on the outside?
Okay.
First.
Obi-Wan Ben.
All right, Obi-Wan, you got your ears on, sir.
Yes, I do.
Obi-Wan, I tell you what, we were talking about you and talking about you and talking about you for, it seemed, every stage. You were definitely carrying the torch for the most part for high side all throughout, man. We thought you were trying to lay back a little bit, try maybe save a little bit of fuel in the first stage, maybe save 2 laps if possible. Second stage, the same thing. That way you cut one full pit stop by the time it was all said and done, and then you had to try that again in stage 3. Talk to us about your race, if we had that right, and what you could have maybe done a little differently.
Yeah, that was exactly what I did, pretty much what you said, and then ran pretty much 7 laps every cycle through on that last stage. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out on the last stage, and me and Armor, battled for quite a few laps there at the end. It was pretty fun. It was clean, up until the last couple corners there, getting through a couple lappers, but, it was fun. I enjoyed myself.
It definitely looked like it, and it was a lot of fun. Long race here at Canadian Tire. Man, congratulations. You definitely held up your end of the bargain for high side racing. Congrats on your P3, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
You got it. All right. Where are we going now, Fry Dog?
Third for NNR. I think it's
All
Smoke, right?
All right. Dohart, you want to talk some more?
No, third was
God
Power.
Yeah, God Power. My bad.
All right. God Power. One of my favorite guys in NNR. Brother, you had a great race out there. I got to ask one sidebar question first. Did you get the memo at the beginning of the race on your paint scheme? You were the only one in gray, and it bugged me.
Yes, I got the memo, and I was doing what I had to do, and it was the right colors, wasn't it? It was just different than everybody else's.
It certainly was, man. Now, you had an interesting race. We saw, you ran pretty much in the top 5 all night long. But I saw an interesting strategy that you took in stage 2, where on the last pit stop, you pitted actually before everybody else to kick off the final pit stop. So just kind of walk me through, this race had a plethora of strategy from, it almost seemed like towards the end, everybody was pitting on, a different lap. Kind of walk us through whatever your strategy was kind of going into each stage and how you wanted to end it out, and if you got the result that you thought you would get.
Well, the first stage, I knew I had to save 1 lap, so I was like, you know what, I'll just go the 7 laps on the first stint. That way I can just hard charge second 2. On the second stage, I had no strategy. Let's be real. I went in there. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I've got enough laps to where I can pit a lap or two early, and I'll still be able to make it to the end. So, help me get through some traffic that I was coming up on anyway. So, third stage, yeah, no clue. It all just kind of came together when it came together.
I got you there, my man. Well, congratulations on the top 5 finish and running up front all day long against this crowd. You know, that is no short feat. You did a fantastic job, brother. And congratulations on the team victory here tonight.
Thank you.
All right, high side, P2, who we got?
I only see Nugget and their owner in
I
here.
think that would be Nugget.
All right. Yep, Nugget, you're on mute, sir. You got.
Yeah, I gotcha.
There we are. Yeah, Nugget, just like your buddy there. Another one that was up front. Top 5, top 7. It seemed most of the race. Was your strategy pretty much the same?
Throughout our whole team, it seemed like the strategy was around the same, minus 1 or 2 laps. But yeah, we all kind of were running the same strategy, trying to really save fuel and get these stages through without any issues.
So, was there okay? So maybe you didn't have it on speed tonight. You definitely tried it on strategy. Were you banking on the third stage being a little bit longer, maybe trying to be able to stretch that out and actually cut that full fuel run out? Or do you think NNR kind of caught on to that a bit earlier and was just kind of able to keep pace with you there? If you say yes, do you think you might have been able or should have held off that strategy until the third stage and tried to catch NNR unaware?
Honestly, we knew that some of the NNR guys, they were flying, and even if all of our strategy went to plan, they had such a lead that they would still be out front. So that kind of threw a wrench through our whole strategy, but we kind of built off of that thought, and we said, you know what, we're gonna try and just save some fuel and just make it to the front, and we were able to do that by the end. I mean, it was pretty close with some of our strategies.
Yeah.
I think there was like 1 or 2 of us that ended up running out of fuel on the backstretch by the end. So obviously it didn't work a bit. But yeah, it kind of felt like we knew the NNR was going to be guns a-blazing in the third stage, but we just knew that we just had to buckle down and go after it by saving fuel compared to them speeding along the way, going like 2 seconds faster than us.
Yeah, you guys were definitely up against some very, very stiff competition, but man, you did your thing tonight. Held it there in the top 3 for your team. Congrats again, sir.
Thank you.
All right, second place for NNR. Who do we got?
I got the man, the myth, the legend. He's called him more, but we all call him Armor because we switch where the letters are. Man, Smoke, you've come a long way since I seen you at a road course last. You were running up front pretty much all race. You had a whale of a battle there for a while. Seemed like you, Rowdy, God Power, Obi-Wan, Boehner couldn't get away from each other. Just talk to me about how the racing was tonight, and how you feel about the P2 result.
First of all, I felt great about it. It's probably the best road course I've ever raced in my life.
I would say so.
I got in a good rhythm, man. I just kept trying to be patient, try not to make mistakes, and manage the throttle on exit. And I got in a good rhythm. I saved enough gas, and I was in a good position. And I had a great battle there at the end. It's really clean with Obi-Wan. She had a good car and a good strategy all race. He was up there. A couple more guys, I think Boehner had to do a stop and go or something like that, so he got kind of stuck back. And God Power was stuck saving gas, so I knew I had a little bit of chance. They were a little bit faster than me, but I kind of got a good distance away from them, so I felt pretty comfortable. I'm just happy, I could actually do good on the road course for once. Not be stuck in 10th.
Yeah, I'll say you did a whale of a job, man. Definitely a lot better
Appreciate
than the
that.
last time I saw you at a road course.
Thanks, man.
But you did a great job,
Yeah.
brother, man.
Appreciate it.
Fabulous job. Congrats on the P2 and congrats on the team victory.
Thanks, man.
All right, and then first place for High Side.
We actually had already interviewed him. That was Obi-Wan, but I
Yeah.
think we're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
have. I think we're gonna have
Noggin.
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 There
Yep.
we go.
Yes,
Noggin
sir.
Jr. I tell you, I actually remember Rick James calling your name in the round 1 race. You and Obi-Wan, I thought it was cool as hell. I don't know what it was, I just thought it was pretty cool. But man, I tell you what, you and your counterparts, it really seemed. I keep going back to this fuel, and I think that was the biggest story out of your race here tonight with NNR. It would have been interesting to see if you were able to get that going and grab a few more spots, maybe try that strategy a little bit later. But then the other side of me says, you know what, you can't do that. You can't lay back too far or let NNR completely dominate the first, top 8 or top 9 through the first 2 stages, because you're not able to do something on speed, but you were on fuel. So I digress. I don't think you guys would have been able to do that. You had the right strategy, trying to run it out on fuel. Do you think, as a team, or as the that was able to bring it home top points for High Side Racing, do you think there was anything different that your team could have done?
I obviously the hindsight's 2020. There's definitely a lot
Yep.
of different things we probably could have done, but if we knew if we knew what we know now, then
Yep.
I'm sure there was going to be a difference. But I don't know. I'm very proud of how we did today.
Absolutely.
I think we all made a few mistakes. I think we tried to minimize that and did so very well. But yeah, I mean,
No, I have to agree with you 100%. And you guys fought through a little bit of lobby instability. Not quite sure if you saw that on your side. We definitely saw it on ours. But
yeah.
man, great race all the way around. We've said this since the beginning of this showdown. To have a bunch of different leagues or communities come together, race side by side for almost 100 laps, and not have any cautions at such a big place as this, so many different braking zones, different braking points, throttle points, different ways of getting into all the different 10 turns. Y'all did an amazing job. I mean, there's no other way to describe that. So, man, you guys did everything that you could possibly do, and I commend you for it, sincerely.
Oh, thank you.
Dohar, I'm going to leave the honors of the one and only young gun all to you, sir.
Well, I feel like the fastest man in town because I was the only man to be able to catch up with him. We got CGMX Rose out here, led flag to flag pretty much, aside from a couple cycles. Fresh off your first Pro League victory, Rose, I mean, you went out here and made a statement. There's not much to talk about, but just talk us through your race, man. I mean, you just led the whole darn thing.
Yeah, my goal was if I could just get out front, which I did pretty much every time on those restarts. I didn't want anything to happen to me. So I was just trying to keep it mistake free, and I did that the whole race. And I was a little worried in the last stage since I lost party communication with the team. But I caught on to the strategy that High Side was doing, and I was decided to save fuel just like they did, and it ended up working.
Yeah, I would say it definitely did in your favor. Now, we noticed a couple of times whenever you did notice the fuel strategy was catching on, you'd get behind a lap car. Now, I know that it was something I was talking to Pete about in the broadcast. That's not usually my go-to because you never know what can happen, but was it the draft off that lap car that was going to benefit you, or was that kind of a pace marker to let you know how hard or how soft you needed to go to make it on fuel, basically?
No, I caught them even though I was saving gas. So, and I didn't want to force the issue or anything since I was saving. So I just kind of rode there and passed when I knew that I wasn't going to get wrecked and just anything bad wasn't going to happen.
Gotcha. Well, you certainly made it happen without incident and issue, getting the job done and leading Team NNR to victory, getting the clean old sweep for yourself, being only the, I believe, Pete, 7th driver to do that, joining the
Sounds
ranks
about
of
right,
guys
yeah.
like, joining the ranks of Stout, Whiskey, Track Bar,
Asbill.
and Lucky Dog and Asbill, like, joining Elite Company, being able to get the clean sweep on points. So fantastic job to you, Rose, and to Team NNR on that victory today. And I think all we got left is the team owners, right?
Yep, team owners, and I believe Fry Dog will have some points for us. But Fry Dog, do you want to talk to Colin?
Colin, where can we get a hold of you if we want to join your league or anything? And by the way, great clean race tonight. You guys showed that you guys got a lot of potential. And just give us a little bit about yourselves.
So if you guys want to join, we have a Twitter. The handle is ALOHSRL. Same thing on Instagram. You can DM the league. You can DM the 2 names in the biography. Other than that, I'm super proud of my guys and how they finished and raced. Wish my race could have went a little better. Kind of feel like I let the guys down. But at the same time, the boys that put the work in, it showed. And I couldn't be happier with the way that this tournament's turned out for us. The traction it's given our league, considering we're one of the newer leagues, to be able to compete with NNR, that's an established league that everybody knows is fast. Even though if we didn't get the job done, it was a clean race, a caution-free race at Canadian Tire. That's almost unheard of. And great race to NNR. Shout out to those guys. And no matter what happens, much respect for them.
Yeah, great job, man.
Yeah, awesome job.
Yep. Tommy, you want to talk to NNR Coe?
Yeah, I mean, how is there anything that you think how do you feel about how your team performed throughout the whole race? I mean, I know in the first 2 stages you guys kind of dominated, but in the 3rd stage it looked like a little on the high side came back a little bit. Were you guys worried at all?
Are you talking to me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It came down to the fuel mileage there. We were getting a little worried because they were apparently, I guess, saving some fuel, and we were trying to manage our fuel there towards the end. So that was our worry.
Right. It looked like. Should I go with the points here or hang on?
Nope, that's fine.
Well, Coe, where can we find you? I know you guys just had tryouts. I know you got a webpage. I know Repeat helps you out a lot. Can you tell us a little about yourselves?
I think they got a store, too.
And how did Rose get on the roster today?
Rose is part of our roster.
I was just messing with you.
I've been hearing this from Dohar, from Colin. I was like, I don't know. He's been there since the beginning. He was just he didn't race the last one, but he was
yeah,
on for this one.
I know. I'm just stirring the pot. I knew last week.
Hey, I saw Repeat on the week 1 roster, so I was getting ready to say, Pete, you going to be racing and broadcasting at the same time? And then I got the new roster today, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, you can find us on our website at nnrleague.com. We have everything there. It's between our YouTube or Twitter account. Everything's on there. You can find Repeat's information on there as well. All our league information is on there. And we still have our tryouts going on for another week or 2.
All right, so
we
might as well bring it to the points. Fry Dog, Tommy, what have y'all got?
All right, so after the first 2 stages, it was 81-29 NNR. And after the final stage, where a little on the high side scored 256 points for a total of 285 to NNR's 359. So,
all right, so there you are. Yeah, I think are you ready to write that check out now, or you you're good to go.
What?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we were already at the bank debating if we should write a cashier's check after stage 2. We held off on it. We weren't committed to the fees yet. But I do believe, I'm just kind of checking over the results page. I think that's going to lay the because I don't think the CRL race counts towards the bye. How many points did NNR get? 359 was it?
359.
359 is going to slot them in second, so they're just going to miss out on having the proverbial bye going into the Super Speedway weekend. TNT right now with 377 has set that benchmark for right now. So just missing out on the bye, but nonetheless moving on to the Super Speedway round, and with a team like NNR that is very cohesive, I'm sure that they are going to feel very comfortable having a race in the Super Speedway round. So congrats to those guys once more on their victory. I think the results of the other race are still pending. They're still trying to figure that out. So we appreciate you guys tuning in to us solely here, and we're glad that NASCAR Heat and NASCAR Heat servers kind of cooperated and let us finish out the race and didn't mess with the results too much. But Pete, you got any last parting words?
That's actually what I was just about to ask you, Dohar. I mean, I definitely appreciate you coming out, hanging out, helping me all the way through this. Glad to call this this high side NNR race with you. You know, with your Twitter information on screen, you want to tell us a little bit about eSpark that maybe you didn't cover earlier, or do you want to rehash it now for everybody that's out there? Tell us where we can find eSpark.
You guys can find us on Twitter at eSpark Series on Twitter. Please also give a shout out to our sponsor and partner, Filter Time and Blake Cook. They absolutely love interactions on social media. Blake loves that kind of stuff. So you can find them at Filter Time, all one word, on Twitter, or Blake Cook Racing, KOCH for him. We have a Facebook page. I'm not very good at maintaining it. We really just do Twitter mostly. And if you want in our Discord server, feel free to either DM me on Discord or the league's Twitter page. Gladly get you involved and get you into either the Truck or Xfinity Series tryout. We just did our Cup Series draft, one of our most watched streams ever. We had averaged like 55 viewers for our Cup Series draft, so that was pretty cool. And like I said, getting ready to kick off Season 3, and Jay Pinnell is going to join us out on the racetrack for our Daytona Shootout on the 6th of September. So a lot of good things happening for us over at eSpark, but thanks for giving me a little bit of time to give a platform for us.
Absolutely. And then I tell you what, I'm excited. Tonight was a great race. Tomorrow night, we're going to be right back here at Canadian Tire. I'm trying to pull up the actual lineup for tomorrow night's race, and it's going to be Piston Cup against American Ethanol starting 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, right back here from Canadian Tire. So American Ethanol, very, very strong. They've got a driver that ran that gambit, the same as what CGMX Rose did tonight. He's the one and only stout whiskey, I believe. No, I'm sorry, Asbel.
Asbel.
Yep, Asbel did that in round one. We'll see if he's going to be able to do that. I can tell you from practice last night, he was bad fast. So be sure to hit that follow button, hit subscribe, so you know when we go live. Follow No Name _ Racing on Twitter. You know that this is the sole channel for all three series. The Cup on Thursday night, Xfinity on Wednesday night, and Trucks on Tuesday nights. This season's coming up about the 22nd of September. So a few more weeks of tryouts left. If you want information, please follow along, and we'll be sure to get back with you. But until now, I'm Repeat. I will check back with you tomorrow night. Hope you'll be there. Until then, please be safe, be apart from each other, and we'll catch you somewhere around the track. Later, guys.
See you guys.